What's up guys, it's Get Ready to Battle and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. Except this time, we're not going to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! We're taking this ruling exam that I found on YouTube. This is from a content creator called Skarlon. Their YouTube channel is in the description, so you can check them out. They also make a bunch of YouTube videos mainly about, I believe entirely about Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't watch them often, but this exam is designed not just to test your understanding of rulings, but also your ability to access game states and your understanding of policy. Seems really cool. And I looked at exactly question number 1, and I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. So, let's do this. Now, I don't have an easy way. Oh yeah, also right here. No, not here. Where is it? If you need to read a card, you can click on its name to get a link to its text. So, this block dragon you can see here, we can click on a link to get to its text. I am not doing that due to how I'm recording. It's going to be awkward. So instead what I'm doing is have Neuron open on my phone, where Neuron has the whole card database, which you are allowed to use during duels. So I'm going to use that now, in the same way there. Okay, Jesse control. So question 1. Here, let me also make a notes app so I can write down what I say. So first step, we have Jesse controls Dark Blade and Summon Skull. In the battle phase, she picks up Summon Skull and gestures it towards her opponent's Sword Stalker and says, attack with Dark Blade. Is she able to perform the attack with Summon Skull? So, okay, technically, we have the actual ruling and then what I'd say. The actual ruling is your verbal actions take priority over physical actions. If you say something, that matters more than what you actually do. So by saying that they're attacking with Dark Blade, that takes priority over attacking with the physical Summon Skull in their hand. Notably, it also depends on how high this is. Like at a YCS, we are following this. At a regional, we are following this. At a local, they misspoke. Who cares? Let them attack with the Summon Skull. Like if we were to get to this board state, I don't think the fact that they attacked the wrong one is the problem. But okay, so I'm doing this as if this is a YCS. Everything matters. You cannot have leeway, because that's what the answers they were looking for. So the answer is, are they from the attack with Summon Skull? The answer I'm saying is no. Now, second, yes or no. James activates Monster Reborn, targeting Block Dragon in his grave. Realizing that it's not a legal target for Monster Reborn, is he required to target a different monster in his graveyard that is a legal target? So the important thing of Block Dragon, which we can actually see here, must be special summoned a certain way, which we can actually make out here. So you can't summon it with Monster Reborn. Now, I believe back older in the day, you would be required to change it to make a legal target. Nowadays in Yu-Gi-Oh, you are not forced to to make an illegal activation legal. Instead, you just get a PE minor for illegally activating a card and rewind the game state to before activating the illegal card. So it would go back to before Monster Reborn. So the answer is he's not required to pick a new one. Question 3. Mark is using blue main deck sleeves and red extra deck sleeves. His side deck contains a copy of Abyss Dweller. Does this card need to be in blue sleeve? It does need to be in a blue sleeve, believe it or not. All your side deck cards need to match your main deck sleeves, whether or not it's an extra deck card. Just, if you decide to side that card, you'll need to switch what sleeve it's in as you're siding. Which is very awkward, but it's there for a reason. I think it's interesting. It's a funny ruling, but yeah, it does need to match your main deck sleeves. So the answer is yes, it is required to be a blue sleeve. So if you ever plan to side deck extra deck cards, or plan to have your opponent think you're siding extra deck cards, just have them all be the same sleeve. Or like maybe have like an extra sleeve in the deck box, or like when you side deck. Just an extra sleeve there. And also, that's just good in case you damage the sleeve. And to say it's for damaged sleeves, because you always need, you don't want a damaged sleeve and to invalidate your entire tournament. Okay, question 4. Kim controls Kashtira Fenrir. Chris activates Change Your Heart, targeting it. In response, Kim activates the effect of Baron de Fleur, and Chris activates the effect of Evilsar Lars, targeting Baron. Once the chain results, can the trigger effect of Kashtira Fenrir be activated, and if so, which player can activate it? Ooh. Okay, so. Oh wait, this is based on OCG rulings. Oh, I was about to say the wrong answer. Okay, so the important thing here is Fenrir has a trigger effect, which happens on resolution of a chain. Of if your opponent activated a monster effect, you can target a card your opponent controls, banish it face down. Change of Heart. Baron de Fleur was activated. To negate the activation and destroy Change of Heart. So thus, he activated one. But Lars also legally activated to target this card with, to basically imperm target it and negate its effects. And just to make sure, I am going to pull up on Neuron Lars, which you can actually hear on my phone. Or at least you hear on my stream. Okay. When your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can detach 2 materials from this card or target a face-up card your opponent controls and negate its effects to the end of this turn. So yes. So both of these are activating. They both are treated as activated on resolution. So can Fenrir be activated? And if so, which player can activate it? Ooh, wait, this is more... I am going back to a precedent of Chainlink 1 talents take a card. Chainlink 2 IP, make SP. Talents take SP, who gets the effect. And OCG has it, the player who currently controls it, and this thing is using OCG. The TCG, it's mainly been accepted by most judges that it's the player who originally summoned it gets the effect. But now this is also different. So then OCG, assuming in that same situation, would have the new player have it. But a different thing is, was Fenrir able to see Baron be activated because it was not opponent's card? But also, would Fenrir be able to activate because of Lars? It's interesting. Okay. Fenrir activate Lars. Would they activate the effect? I think I know how it would work in TCG. It would be Kim gets to do it. It would be... Also, this is not a yes or no question. This is like a... This is a yes or no with additional. That's which is funny. Okay, we have... So... Fenrir... Honestly, at this point, I would have gotten another judge to confer with, because I wouldn't know, but I think I would just do the TCG answer, which is... the... Oh, wait, no, wait. It's because of on summon. This is different. Okay, you know what? It's just a tournament. It's just one quiz. I'll get a question wrong. I'm going to say... I'm treating this as if I was giving a ruling. I'm going to say neither player can activate the effect of Fenrir, because Kim's opportunity to activate Fenrir is missed due to not having Fenrir on resolution, and Chris's opportunity to activate Fenrir doesn't work because he did not control Kachira Fenrir at the point of activation. When the card was activated, so Kachira Fenrir was not there to see the card be activated. So neither player get to activate it. So that's what I'm going to say. Also partially get this thing along, because... Okay. Okay, now question 5. Tom controls a Dark Beckoning Beast and has a copy of Phantom Yubel in his grave. Can you special summon another copy of Phantom Yubel by using these 2 cards as material? Ooh, this is an interesting thing, and this requires what Phantom Yubel says. Okay, it does not show the detail on here, so I'm going to... Actually, does this work? Let me just test out if this works. Oh yeah, then I could probably just... I can just delete... Okay, well actually it's taking a bit to load, so we're not doing that. Also, I might have had this tab open for like 2 days, because I recorded a long video. So, Phantom Yubel... Okay, it's spelled Phantom wrong. Where's Phantom Yubel? On... I typed in the word Phantom. Nothing else. There it is. Okay. Phantom Yubel. The important things is... Must be special summoned, parenthesis, from your extra deck, by shuffling the above cards from your hand, field, and or grave into the deck/extra deck, where it uses a Yubel monster, which Phantom of Yubel is, and a Fiend monster with 0 attack and defense, which Dark Beckoning Beast is. So, just based on that info, you could. Except, it also has the line, cannot be used as fusion material. And here's an interesting thing. This is not treated as a fusion summon. So are they still fusion materials? The answer is yes. They are still fusion materials. Which is awkward because it's not a fusion summon, so you wouldn't immediately think that. But they are still materials for this fusion monster. Thus, they are materials. They are fusion materials. And Phantom Yubel cannot be used as fusion material. It cannot be used to summon Phantom Yubel. Thus, you cannot... The answer is no, you cannot summon Phantom Yubel. So the answer is no. Okay, next up. Kiriko's Gemnite Pearl, which I believe is the 28 XYZ that does new effects, okay. Which was XYZ summoned using right hand shark and left hand shark as material. Can she activate the effect of Tenny Spirit Ashuna in her grave? Ooh. A non-effect monster who is given effects. I am reading these cards to figure out. Okay, first step. Look up Pearl. This card is treated as a rock/XYZ. It is not treated as /effect. It just has no effects. But the most important thing is like right hand shark. Right hand shark. God, why are there 39 cards that have the words right and hand involved with them? This card, Right-Hand Shark, says a few things, along with an XYZ monster that was summoned using only water monsters as material, including this card on the field, gains this effect. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. I don't know if Left-Hand Shark changes anything, but I'm going to assume it doesn't. Actually, I'll just read it just in case. But then, Ashuna, importantly, says the graveyard effect is if you control a face-up non-effect monster. So, the problem is, this monster originally is a non-effect monster, but it was given an effect. Is it still treated... does it become an effect monster, or is it a non-effect monster with an effect? I'm going to say this is still treated as a non-effect monster, but it still has an effect. In the same way of, I believe... Okay, actually, I don't know if this is... No, this is how it works on Master Duel, so it definitely is. Of, Elemental Hero Mudball Man is an effect monster with no effects. Mudball Man, which I can't pull up on here, says must be fusion summoned and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Full stop. Also has the fusion materials on it because it's a fusion monster. And it's treated as an effect monster, and you're able to negate its effects because of a dual tainting I saw. So, you can negate the effects of an effect monster that doesn't have an effect. So, so then that probably means that having an effect and being an effect monster are not one and the same. Thus, the non-effect monster being given an effect does not make it an effect monster. Thus, you are allowed to activate Ashuna from grave. If I was actually asked this question, I would have immediately gone to a higher judge because I do not know the answer. This is me guessing because I need to give an answer now. If it was like I was the head judge at my local, or then I'd say this. But if I was at a regional, I would get someone else who would know. At the very least, the head judge could could figure this out. Okay, so I'm saying yes, they can activate from grave. Okay, and next step, number 7. Eileen controls a Drytron Mu Beta Fafnir, which has a copy of Blow the Praise of the Voice's Voice material. If Eileen activates Praise of the Voice's Voice, can she apply the effect of Low, detaching it and using it as the entire tribute of the ritual material summon? Okay, without reading these cards, I'm going to read them again to check. I believe the answer is no, due to, Mu Beta Fafnir says for ritual summoning, you can use as materials underneath it, and Low says if it's used as material, you can use it as the entire material. I believe you can't apply 2 replacement effects at the same time, so you can't. But let's also read Mu Beta Fafnir just in case. In case it's just a simple you read it wrong question, which, seeing as how the other ones have been, I don't think it is. When you okay, Mu Beta Fafnir says, when you ritual summon, you can detach a material, parentheses, from this card, or as monster, parentheses, required for the ritual summon. The rest of the text does not matter, but it is under an XYZ. Next up, we read prayers. Prayer says, this can be used to ritual summon any light ritual monster. You must also tribute light monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. Here, let me actually star them on here, so I can, because I feel like I need to compare these two. Okay, detail 2. If you ritual summon by banishing only from grave, can you apply the Mu Beta Fafnir effect? That's an interesting thing. Because I now wonder if you can, because you have to also tribute a light monster. Okay, let me go low. I should not have typed in LO. Okay. If you ritual summon exactly one... Exactly one light ritual monster with a card effect that requires use of monsters, this card can be used as the entire tribute. Is the effect of low. I'm going to say... First of all, I wouldn't know, so I'd get the higher judge. But I'm going to say that the answer is you cannot... Well... Okay, so... Okay, let me rephrase. It depends on what you're trying to summon. If you're trying to summon a guy who only needs 1 level... Like a level... Like, this is like... Wait, let me read prayers again. What's prayer say? Any light ritual monster. Is there any light rituals who are level 1? Let's go... Light... Ritual level 1. I messed it up. I messed up my search thing by clicking on spell traps. For the spell trap sub menu. Light... Ritual level 1. Search. There are none. There are no light rituals who are level 1. So there's no precedent for this. Okay, so it technically has to always be applying the effect of low to be able to summon anything using only it. And I'm going to say you cannot do that. You are not allowed to apply 2 different replacement effects at the same time to modify what you can use to ritual summon. Wait, Minio is Drytron. That's not prayers. I was reading. Wait. Oh, 7 and 8. Oh. I'm gonna say. Okay, let me read Meteor and Strytron now. Let's go trash. Strytron? What did I spell wrong? What did I spell wrong? What? I thought I cleared the thing. There we go. Strytron. Go to Meteor and Strytron, which says. This card can be used to summon a ritual monster from your hand or grave. You must also tribute machine monsters from your hand or field whose total attack equal or exceed the attack of a ritual monster. Okay, so I'm definitely saying that one's a no, because it's not a machine monster. While it does require the use of machines, I think you need to actually have it be machines while underneath them for it to work. So I'm saying no to this one. And the other one I'm going to also say no, but that's more due to the reason of you can't apply two replacement effects at the same time. Okay, next up, 8. David controls Sangan Summoning. Ooh. Matt controls... Oh, I know this one. Matt controls number 75, Bamboozle and Gossip Shadow with 2 extra Z materials. Matt normal summons Pydra and activates its effect. In response, Matt activates the effect of Gossip Shadow. Will the effect of Gossip Shadow successfully apply? So the important thing here is Sangan Summoning reads they're unaffected by card effects, so Pydra is unaffected by card effects, but using Gossip Shadow doesn't affect the monster. It affects the effect, and change it to a different effect. In the same way of Spirit of Yubel, not Spirit of Yo, in the same way Phantom of Yubel back when Tenpai, you are allowed to successfully apply it to change the effect. So the answer is yes for 8. And I realized I do not have them numbered on here. Oh well. Okay, 9. Emma Fusion summons Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts, and activates its effect. In response, Lisa activates the effect failure targeting Chimera. After the team solves, activate the quick effect of nature mark. Oh, I see. So Chimera, the King of Mythical Beasts, says maybe this would be better if I just did this. Here, let me. Okay, that has an important effect. And then Mirror Sword Knight's the other important one. Chimera, the King of Mythical Beast. I suppose I'm actually just gonna do it. Who cares? This card name becomes Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast while on the field or in the grave. Mirror Sword Knight can only negate. So when your monster your opponent controls activates effect while you control this card, banish it from field or grave, negate. So the question is this an effect that can be negated by effect failure? Because I know I know Sprite Sprint cannot. I mean, still can't be used as fusion material because that's treated as a condition. So the question is this an effect or a condition? I'm going to say this is an effect, so this will be negated by effect failure. Thus, you cannot activate Mirror Sword Knight. That's what I'm going to say. So the answer I'm writing is no. Shit, I dropped my phone. Okay, number 10. Leah activates the effect of Centurion. Here, dang it. Beep. Of Centurion Trueda in the spell trap zone, summoning it and increasing level by 4. And she activates the effect of monster zone, change skill drain. Is it level 8? So is the trap card effect to summon it and increase level by 4 able to be negated by skill drain? I know a monster effect in hand that summons itself and changes its level is able to be negated by imperm. But, like, attack doesn't change? Or something like that. No, wait. Attack and level change, name doesn't change? Something like that. Okay, either way. My ruling would be, I don't know, I'd get the head judge. The ruling I'm going to say is no, Trude is not still level 8. Because changing the level is an effect that is able to be negated. Or is a criteria that will be lost when the card is negated. Okay, next up, 11. Leia activates the effect of Primera. And changes Call by the Grave response, targeting another Primera. Does Primera's effect resolve? Ooh, so this involves Call by the Grave, where it's target a monster opponent's grave, managing to turn its effects negated, as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of monsters with the same original name. Now, notably, and it gets the effects of activated effects. Ooh, is it parenthesis activated effects and effects on the field and parenthesis of monsters, or is it activated effects and parenthesis effects on the field of monsters and parenthesis? Which matters because this is currently a trap effect to summon it. So I'm going to say that it is good activated effects and parenthesis effects on the field of monsters and parenthesis with the same original name. Thus, the activated effects of the trap card with the same original name will still be negated. So primary effect does resolve negated. Next up, Jeff controls Heart of the Blue Eyes. Can they activate the effect of Cyberdragon Infinity targeting Heart of the Blue Eyes? So the important things here is Heart of the Blue Eyes' important line says control of this card cannot switch. And Cyberdragon Infinity can target face attack with monster on the field, attach it to this card as material. So does attaching a card as material change control of it? I'm going to say no, it does not, due to it never actually being on the field. To control a card, it has to be on the field. Obviously, you can't change a card. I've tried to, like Dark, the Dark Charmer, no, not Dark. Lina summon this card back, and it didn't work. Or no, I think it was Monster Reborn specifically. And didn't work. So they do not need to originally control it, but it goes from neither of us controlling it to neither of us controlling it. Since it goes directly under the XYZ, I'm going to say that that Jason can activate the effect of Cyberdragon Infinity. So my answer is yes. These are good questions. I'm glad I did this one. Ryan fusion summons Lubellion the Searing Dragon using Fallen of Abaz and Bing Wing Burfman as material. With no other cards in his grave. If he activates Lubellion's effect as Chainlink 1, discard Mirror Sword and cost. Can he activate Big Wing's effect as Chainlink 2, targeting that Sword Knight? Oh, the answer is no. Because, oh, wait. Right here. Like, if there's a effect, I don't think Fallen of Abaz really matters, it's just fusion material. The important thing here is, if this card's fusion is sent to the grave as material for a fusion summon, which it is, you can target an illusion in your grave specially. So I think the answer is no, you are not able to activate it, even though at point of resolution there is an effect in grave. You aren't given the priority to activate that effect due to none existing at the time. Which honestly I would probably also ask a higher one. I know of if you activate an effect that like discards a card, then targets one, like say, where is it earlier? With it's not in here. It's a different card. But it was, what was the thing during U-Bell format? It was continuous spell, opening the Spirit Gates. That card has an effect where you can discard a card. I'm not sure if it has a material. And then, right, maybe discard for cost or effect. I'm not sure, or it could target. I'm not sure. Either way, what you're able to do is discard. I mean, you have Dark Beckoning Beast in your grave. You discard Spirit of U-Bell, summon Spirit of U-Bell, and then get its effect. But if Dark Beckoning Beast was not in the grave, you are not able to use that. So I'm going to say it's similar to here, even though it's about activation legality. So, same thing there. So they cannot activate Big Wing Burst from its effect as Chainlink 2, targeting Mirror Sword Knight. I think it's 12 lines. Okay, now, next up, Samantha controls... Ooh. Okay, controls Memento Field Spell, and Sashanuka Shigo. Ooh, the level 5. She activates its effect, destroying itself and sending Mace, Goblin, and Sleepy to the grave. Activate the effect of targeting Setsunuka. In response, Lily activates the effect of Deity Crow. Can Samantha still summon a monster when it resolves? What? Oh, wait. Okay, so this effect. This effect goes, target one of those, summon a memento with a lower level from your hand or grave. I think that the memento needs to be there on resolution to be able to check what level it is. Thus, since it's no longer in the grave, it's no longer able to check that level. In the same way of, like, Imperm target a monster, the monster leaves the field, Imperm doesn't resolve because the monster's gone. Same thing with this. Thus, Samantha cannot summon. So the answer is no. Okay, now we got some new questions. Ooh, 5 new questions. Okay. Alright. 6 new questions. I saw 15 and 20. I was like, oh, 5. Eric attacks Dylan's Typhon with Tyrant Dragon. At the end of the damage step, can they activate the effect targeting Trula in the grave? Ooh. So the important lines here is Typhon. It says neither player can activate the effects of monsters with 3,000 or more attack. And while both Tyrant Dragon is 3,000 or more attack, it also has an effect at the end of the damage step if it battled, target track grave set it. I'm going to say the answer is yes, you can. Due to how the damage step works, there's 5 substeps. Monsters are treated as destroyed as substep 3. The end of the damage step is substep 5. And also by substep 5, things have gone to grave as a result of being destroyed by battle. So yes, you can activate the effect. The idea of they're both in the damage step makes things awkward. But that also partially is due, A, that's also what I'd rule. B, that's partially because I also know a ruling of, is a monster who's unaffected, yet has an effect when destroyed by battle. And after doing research, based on an incident of something activating in substep 4 of that substep, causing it to be destroyed by card effect. Which shouldn't ever happen, and also did not get the effect of destroyed by battle. Thus meaning, substep 3 destroys by battle, substep 4 sent that card to grave, since it was no longer able to apply its unaffected by card effects effect, and sent to grave. Subset 5 is when it would normally be destroyed, so it got hijacked and was not destroyed by battle. Okay, I went too much in detail about what I know about the damage step. Either way, I'm saying Eric can activate its effect, the effect of Tyrant Dragon. 16. Cecile controls Dugares with X and Sword as materials. He has no cards in grave. Can you activate the effect to summon from grave? Okay, so this is a relatively recent change in the OTG, where the answer is yes, you can. And we're using OTG rulings, so the answer is yes, you can. So I'm writing down yes. But at the actual tournament, I'd say A, it depends on the head judge because it has not been agreed upon in TCG. And number 2, I'd also just personally say no, you cannot, just because I don't think you should be able to. In the same way of activating discard and summon back the same card. You have to have a legal target in grave. This, you have to have a monster in grave. So OCG, I believe the OCG answer is yes, and they're looking for the OCG answer, so I'm answering yes, but the TCG answer is no, and I'm assuming most of you, if not all of you, play TCG. Okay, number 17. Question number 17. Josin activates right, actually here, I should probably specify why it actually matters. Let's go click on Dugares. Dugares has different effects that you can do. So you detach, then activate, and OCG says, oh, you detach, then you activate, and at the point of activation, this one is legal, so you do it. But with TCG, it's either undecided, or it's decided that you decide at this point in the word, not at this point in the word. So you can't apply that. You do this one or this one. 15-point apart. These just don't really matter. Okay, now 17. Justin activates Raigeki. In response, they activate the quick effect of Ame no Murukamo no Mitsu. When it resolves, they discard Snow and Raigeki resolves. And Nuche can activate the effect of Snow, and if so, can he apply both effects targeting Murukamo in their grave? Okay, so Ame no Murukamo is the important effect here. But let's also have Snow open. This card says, when your opponent activates card or effect, you can activate this effect. Your opponent can discard a card, or that effect is negated. So, it forces your opponent to discard a card. But your opponent gets to choose if they want to apply it. So the question is this discarded by card effect? I'm going to say yes, it is an effect. It is the effect of a card. But the question is, was it discarded hand by opponent's card effect? Or was it yourself choosing to have that happen? I'm going to say also yes, this was an opponent's card effect. The opponent gave you the choice. The fact that you took them up on the offer does not change the fact that they were the one who offered it. Thus, you are able to activate the graveyard effect, and you can apply both effects. The answer is yes. Okay, 18 question. Kane. Kane activates the effect of Chasma, a card that I have not read. Oh wait, this is the white XYZ, right? White, yeah, okay, I do know this one then. Okay, activates the effect of Chasma, sending Redox from deck to grave. Can he target that copy of Redox to special summon it? Ooh. Interesting. So Redox effect is... So, Chasma's important effect is, send a level 7 Dragon Ruler from deck to grave, and detach a material from this card to make this effect become the set monster's effect that discards itself to activate. Redox's discard effect is... Where is it? You can discard this card on Earth, then target a monster in your grave, special summon that target. Ooh, wait a minute. Can Redox target itself? Yeah, Redox can target itself, I think. Because it doesn't have any restrictions. I'm gonna say yes, it can. And also that Redox can target itself if you activate its in-hand effect. Oh yeah, also you are able to apply copy effects that require targeting. Like this just makes it become the effect so you don't have to pay cost. So you don't have to discard the card that you sent from deck to grave and an Earth monster. But targeting, while in the cost portion of the card, is actually an activation requirement. So you are still able to target. So you are able to target in general with other things that copy. This one, Redox does not have anything saying it can't target itself. So you are able to target that copy of Redox. So the answer I'm saying is yes. 19. George controls embodiment of Apophis. He normal summons the man with the mark and activates its effect. In response, Owlet activates Song of the Dominators. George changes his primary drill when targeting it. Can Owlet activate the effect of Delta in response? Okay. So I'm going. Wait, embodiment of Apophis. Does this change anything? Oh, it's just a normal monster. Okay. Okay, I think that's is to make George legally activate Drill Beam. So the question is, the Song of the Dominators has this line. If you activate this card from your hand, you cannot activate the effects on monsters in your hand, grave, or banishment until the end of the next turn. Does that effect apply on activation or on resolution? Because I know in some cards, let's go over to here and type in, wait, that's the wrong thing. There's a certain card, where's Prosperity? Next page. Part of Prosperity. Banishes cards and then reveal one. You cannot draw cards by card effects the turn you activate this card, it says. And Dark Bribe is a card that negates the activation, and then they draw a card. The game is able to see you're activating an effect that would draw a card, and not let you activate Dark Bribe, but doesn't see far enough to see that Dark Bribe would get rid of that restriction. So this card applies the restriction on activation. So now the question is we don't need this one anymore. What's that weird at? I don't know. The question is, does the restriction of the, does the effect, if this card activates from your hand, wait, did it say from hand? Ooh, it doesn't even say activate some damage from the hand. If you don't monster grave, you activate this effect from your hand. Oh wait, activate the monster effect on the field, negate, then you're trapped in your grave. Activate this card from your hand. So notably, if you activate this card from the set, the answer is yes, obviously. So this is an issue of not enough information. I would like to know if it was activated from hand. I'm going to assume to make this question interesting, it was activated from the hand. But if it was not activated from the hand, then if it was not activated from the hand, then the answer is obviously yes, you can delta. The restriction doesn't even exist if you didn't activate it from hand. But if you did, then is this an activation restriction or an on resolution restriction? In the same way, like SP is a on resolution restriction. I'm going to say that since this is a separate line in the card text, that this is an on activation condition because it was legally activated. It has been activated, so now you cannot activate monster effects. So you cannot chain delta. So the answer is no, you cannot chain delta in response. Now 10. 10 controls G-Golem Invalid Dormant and no other monsters. She uses the effect, then activates the effect of Interdimensional Matter Forwarder, targeting it. After you use the effect of Dolan again, can she activate the effect of Backup Agnister in her hand? Ooh. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so Backup Agnister's important effect, I'm assuming, is if you control a Cyberus monster that was special summoned from the extra deck. And Valid Dolan says, once between discard a Cyberus, draw a card. What? You just activate it? Yeah. Okay, forwarder. Target a monster on the field, banish it, then return to the field. So it was temporarily banished. So the question is, what is remembered and forgotten about a card that was temporarily banished? I believe it was Link Summon, but it wasn't. I'm not sure, and honestly, what I would do is get someone else, that or at a local, look it up on my phone, because I think I know how to easily look this up. Because there's like a simple graph that's like, that shows both temporary banishing and flipping face down, what's remembered and forgotten. And they're like nearly identical. Ooh, so I don't know. I'm gonna say. So first of all, it technically doesn't say that this card was summoned from the extra deck. It doesn't say that. I mean, so this card could have been like banished and then re-summoned from the graveyard with like Monster Reborn. So technically it doesn't say. So technically, we could assume, oh, it was summoned from the grave, so it can't. It doesn't. Once again, not enough info. But I'm gonna say, assuming that it was previously special summoned from the extra deck, and is in the my extra monster zone when this effect happened, then okay. So what I actually so guess purely based off my memory is that the answer is that you can activate the backup. Wait, no, wait. If it's flipped face down, what happens? Need information about how we're summoned. Does I remember who's being summoned? I'm trying to remember an image in my head. I think the answer is actually no. It was not treated as special from the extra deck. It doesn't have a place where it was special summoned from. It's just a thing that's forgotten about. So I'm gonna say the answer is no. I think I could also be wrong, but then again, I'm gonna also use the excuse of this card doesn't say that. I mean, this card didn't say that this card was special from the extra deck. Okay. Okay, now multiple choice is up next. In this category, multiple questions may be correct. That is an important thing to recognize. Okay, question 1. In which of the following situations can you special summon a properly summoned Mirror Jade the Ice Blade Dragon from the grave with the effect of Monster Reborn? So Mirror Jade just says, like, I think the important line is you can only control one of him. So if you only control one, what happens? So you can't try to control one. So I'm assuming this card was fusion summoned and you activate Monster Reborn. You control a Mirror Jade and the monster with effects negated by skill drain. The answer is no, you cannot. A is wrong due to the Mirror Jade you're trying to summon not applied by skill drain yet, seeing that you have Mirror Jade. Same thing here. You control a Mirror Jade. You can't. You control a set Mirror Jade in the monster zone. The face down monster does not have a name, so it does not. So it is not Mirror Jade. So you can. C and D are correct because it's face down, so it doesn't have a name. You control a face up Mirror Jade and call by the grave is previously this turn banished a copy of Mirror Jade. Okay, this one is also going to be no because this also could just be a instead of a effect a condition, so you can't do it. But also, it's activate effects and effects on the field, and for the same reason that it doesn't with skill drain, it won't with Call by the Grave. Control Mirror Jade that has the effect of Sakura Vengeance applied to it. I have no clue what this card is. What's the next one? See. What's that? Oh, it's nice inside. Super. Detach 1, target a guy. Oh, is this like target face monster? The name becomes this card until the end phase. So its name is changed, so you don't have it. I'm gonna say yes. So I'm gonna say C, D, and F are correct. You can have it because this one you do not control Mirror Jade because it's face down. It's not treated as Mirror Jade. In this card, it's not treated as Mirror Jade because it's a different name. It's not Mirror Jade. So I'm gonna say C, D, F. Okay, question 2. In which of the following situations would the effect of your Sangan be activated while your opponent controls Masquerade and Red Eye's Flare Metal? And Red Eye's Flare Metal. Ooh. Okay, so Sangan is a mandatory effect. Wait, is it mandatory? Yes, it's mandatory. But Masquerade reads, your opponent needs to activate. Wait, would the effect be activated? Yeah, so it's not even can you activate it. Flare Metal says, each time your opponent activates a card effect, inflict 500 damage immediately after it resolves. Masquerade says they must pay 600 to activate cards or effects. So, the A is wrong. B is, so first let's do the simple ones. D is yes. Actually, okay, so I guess it's not simple. Yes. Notably, Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon just deals damage to you. You are allowed to kill you are allowed to take damage, and by activating card effects, you could be at 300. Do this, you take 5. You lose, but you're able to do it. So this card doesn't apply for these 4. What? Oh, it doesn't apply for A, B, C, D, or G, and also for E or F. It just doesn't really matter in this situation. It's just it's a trick. It lets you know how damage works. You are allowed to activate effects that would kill you. Speaking of which, activate effects that would kill you. Masquerade says you must pay 600 to activate an effect. You are allowed to pay exactly enough life points, so you can do it under B. Then that also means you can do it under C, you can do it under D. Now, you're not allowed to pay life points you don't have, so you can't activate it under A, so it just won't activate. E has the same problem as A, you don't activate. F has the same thing as C, you do activate. Now, and then G, the issue isn't about paying life points, but it's about if you have a card in deck. Now, Sengen is mandatory. It will activate whether you want to or not. Pretend like there's a gun being held to your head telling you, click the activate button. You activate it no matter what. So my answer is B, C, D, and F. And G. Okay. Are all able to go in these situations. The only restriction is A and E having not enough life points for Masquerade. Okay, next up. In which of the following situations would an Explorer Noir with 6 materials leave the field? Ooh. Okay, Explorer Noir says, so it's shortcut as Towers, but Towers doesn't mean everything. This card is unaffected by my opponent's activated effects while it has 5 or more materials. So which of these cards do it? So it's unaffected by activate effects. So I believe, let me just go through them based on my head. Yes, 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 no, yes. So my immediate read is A, B, D, and E, alright? The reason being is activate effects. Mirror Jade's Graveyard effect uh, destroys all monsters you control during the end phase of this turn. It activates when it goes to grave and applies later. So when it goes to apply, it's not an activated effect. It's now a lingering effect that needs to resolve. It's a it's a resolved effect. It's resolving it now. You're not activating anything. Thus, it's not an activated effect, and it gets rid of Explorer Noir. XYZ Encore, it says, it says target XYZ control. You are allowed to target unaffected monsters. Detach all materials from it. This card does not affect that monster. It affects the materials that were underneath it, making it fly out from underneath. And if you do, return it to the extra deck. Now at this point, when it tries to return to extra deck, it has 0 materials. It is not unaffected by activated card effects. Thus, it does return to extra deck. And then the rest don't matter too much. So the answer is yes for this. Unchained Soul of Rage is activated targeting Explorer Noir. Appearing in opponent's main phase, targets face special monster controls. Means Souls link summon a dark monster by using only that monster in this card controls material to it. This is an effect. So while under such as summoning Underworld Goddess just because you can summon it, you are able to do it because it's being used as material and not effect. This is an effect telling you to now do it. This is still an active. Oh wait, immediately after this effect resolves changes things. I'm still gonna go with my original opinion though. Of this is still an effect that was activated that's trying to force it to be used as material. It's unaffected by that effect that's trying to force it as material. Thus, nothing will happen, and it will stay. Okay, now D. D says evenly matched. Says make your opponent banish the cards. So you force your opponent to pick up their physical cards, so it gets around towers. If they had 2 copies of Exploring Noir, then and you have a card that says your opponent gets rid of one of them, then one of them will have been gotten rid of. But now you control a Primal Being token. This also still works because evenly matched says to banish them. It says to make the cards banish from the field face down. Tokens cannot go face down. Thus, if you get evenly matched while you have a token, the token will stay on the field and everything else will be forced to leave because you can't choose something else. You can't just choose Exploit Noir and then also keep the token because it doesn't leave. You must be forced to get rid of Exploit Noir. Now Snatch Steal. For the same reason as XYZ Encore working because you're able to target it, you're still able to target it to equip it. And then it applies a continuous effect, non-activate effect, to take control of the equipped monster, thus letting you take it. Thus, it's not an activate effect, and it affects Pluriel Noir. So my answer is A, B, D, and E. Oh god, it auto-corrected Able, because I just typing out the letters. Okay, next up, question 4. In which of the following situations would you be able to tribute summon Slifer, using an opponent's dinosaur monster's material, in a turn their miscellaneous quick effect has resolved? So miscellaneous says, during this main phase, which I'm assuming this is, yeah, dinosaur monsters you control are unaffected by my opponent's activated effects. So in the same way as Exploit Noir. So the question is, what is an activated effect? We have U. I didn't want to do that. Can I do this? It does not work how I thought it would. Yoink. 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 Okay, question. Now, Soul Exchange. Targeted monster phone controls. This turn, if you attribute, you must tribute that target, as if you controlled it. I think this card affects the card that it targets, thus you cannot do this. Wait, what's the rest of it? Target an opponent's dinosaur monster. No, you cannot. Soul Crossing. This card just performs a tribute summon. Immediately after this falls tribute summon. You are able to also tribute, though. So I think the answer is yes, you can do this one. Because it's more of the action of tribute summoning is able to use opponent's monsters, not this effect affecting that monster as tribute material. So yes, you can do Soul Crossing. Unexplored Winds is by Unexplored Winds is a no, specifically because of what Slifer says. Slifer the Sky Dragon isn't just a normal monster. This card requires 3 tributes to normal summon it. And Unexplored Winds said you can tribute tribute summons that require 2 tributes. This card doesn't just require 2 tributes, it requires 3, and in Yu-Gi-Oh! That matters. Yu-Gi-Oh! If you target 2 cards, if you target 2 cards, you can't target 1, you can't target 3, you have to target 2. Same way here, this requires 2 attributes. It's not just like also 3. I mean, 3 doesn't like, oh, it's 2 plus 1. No, 2 is different than 3. Thus you cannot do unexplode winds. Stormforth. Once this turn, if you would tribute, you can tribute one of your Poke Controls instead. It does not affect the card itself. It now applies a continuous or a lingering thing that is not connected to it. Thus you are allowed to tribute it with this card. Now, Spellcraft Soul Change. Immediately after resolve, tribute summon a monster. You can tribute monsters' Poke Controls even though you don't control them. But it can't be tributed this turn. It can't be tributed this turn. That one, this isn't that tributed. The second part that I just was surprised about is not related to how this Rilling it works. It relates to how interesting I thought this card was, because it also has a second effect if your opponent can do that first one. But now they also can't tribute it, which is funny. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna say no, yes, no, yes, yes for the same reason of Soul Crossing. And I could also be wrong on Soul Crossing and Soul Exchange, but that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say BDE. This one. Okay. What is the correct procedure for randomizing your deck? Okay, so this one, a lot of people shortcut. What you must do is you shuffle your deck, then your opponent can shuffle your deck, then you cut your deck, then your opponent cuts your deck. Wait, okay, so we have, or at least that's what I believe. Let me read these to see if I change things. You must shuffle, then your opponent can optionally cut. You must shuffle, then your opponent can shuffle or cut. I could explain why so many people shuffle and cut. You can optionally shuffle. First of all, fucking no. You gotta shuffle. Then your opponent must shuffle or cut. No. You have to randomize it. You must shuffle, then your opponent must shuffle, then you can cut. If you do, your opponent must cut. And based on from what I saw Dragon Duel, I think it's this. Because I also saw like them doing pile shuffling with their opponent's decks and their own. The same, and like oh, search a card, I pile shuffle, and then the opponent grabs your deck and pile shuffles. Which was also it's years ago, so things you must shuffle or cut, then your opponent must shuffle or cut. I'm gonna say the answer is D. I'm gonna assume that's the only answer. There probably is multiple answers. I'm just gonna say D. Okay. Which is not an example of acceptable note taking. So before reading these answers, what is acceptable note taking is you are able to keep track of things that are required to maintain the legal game state. You aren't allowed to like take notes of like if a card was added. Let's search the card. If I activate effect to search a card from deck to hand, you can't write that down. But if I have like a Nibiru token, we can write down how much attack it has. Because that is proper for maintaining the legal game state, but I don't need to know what cards are in your hand for legal game state. Okay. I use my normal summon this turn. Opponent add anti-spell prosperity. This is a no. This is wrong. I just said this. Combined creations at 3,000. I think that is acceptable, assuming you're talking about the 5,000 attack point monster, and then you have the trap card that keeps reducing it by 1,000. That is required. This is also mandatory to return to end phase, so it's also required. Draw and Lockbook is applying. Okay, so definitely CD, definitely not B. It's A and E. I've never come to a situation where someone did this, but this is also a bunch of situations I haven't came across. Sorry, I muted my mic to blow my nose. I'm gonna say that A is not required to maintain legal game state. It just gives you more options. In the same way, like writing down what a line could do. So A is not allowed. And I'm gonna say E is required because it shows what can't happen. So if something bad happens that conflicts with that, it's a problem. In the same way, something conflicting with this is a problem. Something conflicting with this is a problem. Something conflicting with this of you forgetting it, is a problem. And then using your addition normal is also a problem. But so it's drawing 7 cards. It doesn't mean you can take a note saying you only have 5 cards in your hand. So I'm gonna say C, D, and E are the ones for this. Okay, which of the following situations are legal methods of summoning Red Ice Dark Dragoon? Ooh, okay, I see Red Ice Fusion already. I'm going to point out, I'm just gonna, without saying them, I know Red Ice Fusion, says, there is an OCG ruling about this. And I know because it came out about a regional, and someone basically lost because of it. Future summon a future monster. The Red Eyes. Use a monster from your hand or field. If you do, its name becomes Red Eyes. And Red Eyes Dark Dragoon says it uses Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon. So it's like, oh, cool. So I could use Red Eyes Fusion because it mentions Red Eyes, and then use any dragon effect monster. No, you cannot. That's not how it works. How this works is if this card is Dark Magician and a dragon effect monster, then it does not mention Red Eyes Black Dragon. So it can't. So it needs to be specifically Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon. Which I think is about the matter here. Because this one. Like this one, Red Eye Soul. Doesn't work. Now King of the Swamp has a specific ruling, so I'm gonna hope this is the same in the OCG. This card, these replacement cards where they are able to pretend to be any fusion material mentioned on it, don't work in deck. They also don't work in the banish zone. So if you're playing Branded and you want to summon Dragoon by shuffling back the materials from banish zone, no. Play actual Dark Magician. Don't play Light Hexfield. If this card in your hand, field, or grave would be used, you can substitute it instead. So it can't be used from deck. So B and C are wrong. A is correct. Now I, Tamias, says target a Dark Magician monster, fusion that mentions that monster using material. Now what's this card? Card Dark Magician on the field. Ooh, does the name replacement work while on field? I'm gonna say yes because it does. This Itemize does not care about original. It cares about a Dark Magician monster. Oh wait, is Dark Magician a Dark Magician monster? Yes, it is. For a second I had to think because if you can't search it because it doesn't mention Dark Magician, but Dark Magician is a Dark Magician monster. Same thing with this card. Same thing with Dark Magician is a Dark Magician monster. So the answer is you can do it. A, you can do E, and you can do F. So I'm saying A, E, F. Okay, now Necro Valley is applying. Which of the following are legal actions? Now this is going to be nearly impossible. Do not trust this question for your TCG rulings, because Necro Valley in the TCG and OCG are worded differently, which is a problem. They have different things. Like Necro Valley here is more negation, while in the OCG it's more prevention. So in Necro Valley, here you could activate like a Monster Reborn and it would be negated when it resolves. Well, I believe in the OCG you just can't activate Monster Reborn, which matters. So here, so under the understanding that it prevents instead of negates, special summon from the grave by its listed method. No, you can't. Even is wait, is this a card effect or a summoning condition? It's a summoning condition. Notably, you can have summoning conditions to summon themselves from grave and unclassified effects to summon themselves from grave. A summoning condition can only be done this way. This one, a summoning condition is, an unclassified effect is an alternate way to summon it. The main difference is, can it be normal summoned or set? If it cannot, then this is a summoning condition. This is a condition you must fill to summon it. And thus, it's not an effect. But if it didn't have this line, then this would be an unclassified effect. There would be an unclassified effect, and thus an effect, and thus would be stopped by Necro Valley. This is a summoning condition, so you are able to do this. Same thing with Bestial Rebellion, funny enough. This, for the same reason, it's this. Oh wait, shit, wait a minute. Wait, I just realized this has more text on it. You shuffle them from the hand or grave into the hand or deck. But it does. But it's not a card effect. It's a summoning condition. It involves shuffling. So this is fine. This is also fine for the same reason, because it's the same summoning condition. Now, Imseti is not a summoning condition, as you can see from here. It's just an alternate way to summon it. You can still normal summon it, thus it's just an unclassified effect, and thus will be negated by Necro Valley. Resolve the effect of Nadir Servant. Oh, the idea of this card also getting from Great. Okay. Okay, so now my only idea of this one, so it adds from deck or graveyard. So if you, I tried this out on an unofficial simulator, so I'm assuming it's using OCG rulings, and I believe what happened, because someone asked about how Necro Valley works against Kashira Birth, and it was your Birth at point of resolution wasn't able to summon from the grave, and I don't remember if I was able to activate it while there's only ones in grave, But while there was one in Banish and Engrave, I was able to activate it and summon from Banish Zone. But I wasn't given the option to summon from Grave. So I'm going to assume that this says you can add it from deck, you cannot add it from Grave. If you only have targets in Grave, you cannot activate this card. And the problem is this doesn't have enough info. So I'm going to say you are allowed to resolve it. So we have A, B, D. Then E says activate the effect of Rika Princess in Grave. Oh, this is an activate effect. This is an activate effect that shuffles in its cost. When activates a monster effect while you control Rika, shuffle this card and attribute to plant, negate the effect. Oh, it tributes for cost. Thus is in effect that Necro Valley stops. Oh, I see. Cards in the grave can't be banned. Card effect and move card in the grave to a different place. I'm gonna say this works because it's not an effect. It's cost to activate an effect. So I'm gonna say E. It's also true. Okay. Now question 9. I gotta go. Okay. Give me 1 minute. I'll be right back. And by that I mean I'm gonna pause it and then come back. Okay, we're back. Where would we leave her? Okay. Which of the following cards, when discarded by the effect of when discarded by this card, allow it to special summon a Materia Reactor monster from deck? Discard a card, summon a 3/11 from deck. Or if you discard a normal monster, summon a Materia Reactor instead. Okay, so which of these are considered normal monsters that you can discard? So, okay, so the question is, when does it check? Sorry. When does it check? Discards a normal one in the hand or grave? I'm going to assume yes, because when you attempt to discard it, it's a normal, and while it's in grave after being discarded, it's a normal. Thus, I'm going to say the Dragon Spirit of White is a yes. Where's the... So A. Wait, get out of here. Gigaplant. Show me Gigaplant. Normal monster while face of the field or in the graveyard. Okay, I have what I think is. Discard stream normal monster while in your hand. Okay, so here's the two ideas. Is it a normal monster? Does this care about normal monster in the hand, or does this care about normal monster in the grave? Starry Red I don't think is ever a normal monster. Yeah, this card's not a normal monster. It just pretends to become a monster that just happens to be a normal monster. That's never a normal monster. That's not it. Moki Moki Adrift. And it's treated as a normal monster. Ooh. So it's treated as a normal monster while in the grave. What's Gigaplant? Treated as a normal monster while in the grave. This card. Oh, this card is never a normal monster. It's a non-effect monster, but it's not a normal monster. Thus, not on this guy. So the question is, do you count in hand, do you count in grave, or do you count both? I'm going to count in hand. That's what I think. I think it's only in hand, so thus it's only Dragon Spirit of White and Simorgh Bird of Ancestry are the normal monsters that are discarded this way. Okay, next up, number 10. Which of the following cards can you activate Mystical Ref penalty? Okay, this card's just a thing. Activate only when a spell card that targets one player is activated. The effect of that spell card is applied to the other player instead. Now, spell cards don't target players. But this card was printed in 2010, way after they should have known that this card can't exist. There's like a list online of everything that it can work with. So let's see. Okay, Time Tear and Morganite, I know the answer is no. Pod Desires, I know the answer is yes. Grass, I don't think really works because humility equals to the difference. And if there's not a difference, you can't really do that. Let me read Grass. That's Extravagance. Ooh, okay. I'm going to say the answer to Extravagance is no, because it matters based on what you banished, and since you didn't banish anything, you wouldn't draw. Thus you can't. Okay, now that grass looks greener. Here. I'm going to say the answer is no, because it requires you to have more cards in deck. Thus, if player A is able to activate it, player B can't activate it. Thus, they can't replace it. Now, talent. Target a player. Like, to look at your opponent's hand, you mean? I'm going to say the answer to talent is no. Ooh, wait, what do I feel? I feel like, because I looked at this page, like, relatively recently. I'm gonna say the answer is yes, but only if they activate that third effect for talent. So arguable. So I'm gonna say A and E are both ones you can activate. Miss Growth. Pot desires and triple types. New question 11. In which of the following situations would the monster effect being activated resolve negated? Fusion summons Baka and activates its effects. Doug activates imperm target Baka. Activate effect. Ooh, wait. Is that a continuous effect or? Okay, so the question is this an activate effect or a continuous effect? That is the question. I'm going to say that that is a continuous effect that only applies while on field. Thus, imperm negates its whole effect, including that effect. So this will resolve negated. Thus, A is one of the options. B, with Monster Reborn, activates effect. Activates imperm. Fusion summon card. It's not a fusion summon card. Wait, so then it's still negated. Now I'm worried that A isn't actually negated, but well. We're going to activate quick effect of Heart Scripter. Currently playing a Splash Mage. And activate imperm. Taking Crypter. So Crypter's effect for that is target when it is while it points to a monster, its effect and activation cannot be negated. So this effect being activated will not resolve negated because it's pointing to a card. So it's not C. D is actually the quick effect of XYZ Hyper Dragon Cannon. Increase the what effect? Quick effect. Discard a card, target card opponent controls, destroy it. Equipped with Sea Crush Wyvern. Ooh, imperm set in the same column, targeting it. So if I remember correctly, C is immune to traps. Yeah, unaffected by opponent's trap effects. So imperm needs to negate the monster to negate the column. Since it did not negate the monster's effects, then it does not able to negate the column. Since the column isn't negated, then C is still applying, making it unaffected by traps. So even a second imperm would still have this happen. Thus, it's unaffected by imperm. Imperm does not resolve, negating it. So this effect will resolve with effect. Resolve with effect. So it's not D, because it won't resolve negated. Okay, now D. Which of the following situations would it be legal to perform if the monsters involved have had the effect of this applied? Oof, how much more? Oh, there's more. That's more. Page 8 of 18. Oh wait, some of these are answers. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I was feeling relatively okay near the beginning. You know what? Let's finish this section. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not feeling that well, so I'm gonna finish this section and then stop the recording and start the recording again, and then add the two things together. Quick effect. Which of the following actions would be illegal to perform if the monsters involved have had the effect of heralding of this guy? So this guy changes names. Dethrip materials this card. Target face monster. This name becomes unknown. So you change the name. So hybrid. So can this card, while pretending to be this, you can create a harpy monster you control as a tuner. It's not a harpy monster because harpy channeler is called unknown. It's not a harpy. It's not a harpy card. It's not a harpy channeler. It's unknown. Thus, you cannot do A. What if it's impermed? It works, huh? Why does that change things? I'm worried as to why that matters. Why do I have still some tabs open that I don't need? Detach one. Becomes unknown. Negate any unknown activated effects by your opponent. What? Oh wait, this name becomes Harpy later while on the field or in the grave. I didn't recognize that part. That changes things. Glad I read this card. Whenever you get a judge call, please read the card in its entirety. It will matter. Thinking that you understand the situation and answering based on your assumption will cause you to give wrong answers, such as totally awesome activated under shifter. It gets negated, destroyed. Are you able to set it from the banner zone, I believe, was the question? I could also be wrong and it was a different thing. But the most important part was Toad couldn't be activated because it needs to send to grave as cost. So we can't do it under shifter. And, like, I did that wrong. I was the one who, like, gave an answer. And then got appealed, and you're like, no, here's actually how... Actually, this whole thing doesn't exist. Okay. So, this card's name becomes hard to be later while on the field or in the grave. But it also becomes... It becomes unknown? Wait, it becomes unknown but treated as hard to be channel? Name becomes hard to channel. I think if there's two replacement effects happening, its own card takes priority. So actually, A will still work. A won't be stopped. So that will still be legal, actually. I'm saying, now that I read it more thoroughly. Now, B, on the other hand, will negate that effect. And only become unknown. Thus, Sharply can't use it, so it's not B. Now C, Fusion Summoning Masquerade, using Quem and Avram. Ooh. This uses a Despia monster in a light or dark. So Avram is the light or dark, and Quem is always treated as a Despia. Doesn't matter what its name is. Its name could be Tacos. Its name could be Despia. It's still treated as a Despia. It doesn't matter what its name actually is. That's what the parentheses mean. Thus, this is legal. See, you are able to Fusion Summon. Now, in Mechaba, using Crowley and Avram. Now, does Crowley pretend to become... Is it a new card? It's a new card. When was it released? Okay. Monster Mayhem. If this face card is used as a hero, its name can be treated as Alistair the Invoker. Its name never becomes Alistair the Invoker, but it pretends to be. So whether this is called Crowley or called Unknown, it doesn't matter what its actual name is. It's already pretending to treat its name as Alistair. Thus, it will still work while under the becoming an unknown. Thus, D is legal. Now, E. Declaring unknown with the effect of Dirge while controlling Snipe Hunter. So Snipe Hunter is currently unknown. Dirge says, declare a card name. Each time the declared card is activated, halves life points. Oh! Can you activate this effect, since unknown is not a legal card? Unknown doesn't exist as a card name, but it's currently a card name now. No, you cannot activate Dirge calling unknown, because it's not a card name in the deck building process. There's a card that's a Legendary Ocean that's always treated as Umi. You can't call Legendary Ocean because it's not a Legendary Ocean. It doesn't exist. It only exists as Umi. It's in here with unknown. Unknown cards don't actually exist. Thus, you cannot call unknown. So E is legal. Okay, so next up we have complex rulings, and for this I'm going to stop the recording here and take a break. I'm just feeling unweird. So I guess I'll come back with like a fresh mind. Be ready to handle this. Okay, it's the next day. It's part 2 of doing this quiz, which is all in the same video. But for me, it's the next day, and I do feel better than I did before. I was bordering on if I was being sick or not. Let's continue back with it. I also did a little bit of review. Here's complex rulings, and it shows like this little page. And then analyzing game states, presuming you're the judge taking a judge call. And then we have like answers right here. So it's actually less than it seems. So let's start off with complex rulings. This is the only one I've read, and I did not do any research based on it. And we have deck that I play. God damn it, pop-ups all showing up right now. So we have the second bulleted effect of Radiance. First way, it's targeting SP Low Knight and Jet Synchron, which is something to effect. In response, SP Low Knight's effect is activated, targeting itself with Jet Synchron. At the end of this turn, which of the above cards are on the field? So notably, the second effect of Radiance says, target cards your opponent controls up to the number of light rituals you control. Destroy both this card and as many of the targeted cards as possible. So, SP says, when opponent activates card or effect, you can target 2 face-up monsters on the field, including a monster you control. Banish both until the end phase. And Jet Synchron says, if it's in your grave, you can send the card from your hand to the grave, special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. So the important thing is, what happens? So Radiance, say like they didn't activate any of these effects. Like didn't they do? They just do Radiance, and you Radiance target 2. Then the 2 would leave, and so would Radiance leave. If only one of them actually ends up leaving, like say one of them disappears from the field, but one of them does not disappear from the field, then Radiance goes away, and whatever it targeted goes away, because that's both. But if all the legal targets are gone, then you can't remove both this card and as many as possible, because as many as possible needs to be at least one. So you can't do this and this card due to the word both needing both to happen. Thus, this card will not leave the field. So this card stays. Now, SP Lone Knight temporarily banishes, but there are two effects controlling how Jet Synchron leaves the field. SP, which says banish to end phase, and Jet Synchron, which says banish period. When two different effects control how a card leaves the field, then its own effect will take priority, causing it to be banished in general. How the chain works is SP will resolve, SP Lone Knight and Jet Synchron will be banished, Jet Synchron will not come back in the end phase, SP Lone Knight will, then Radiance resolves, not doing anything, resolving without effect due to all the monsters being gone. So at the end of this turn, which is the buff cards on the field, well, then SP Lone Knight will come back, Jet Synchron will not. So the ones that will return on field, and the ones that I'm pulling up the notes document that I did for my answers, are SP and Voiceless card. Voiceless. It helps that I have played Voiceless for months, so I know in depth of how Radiance works. Okay. Now, question 2. J controls Deception of the Simple Soils. That activated Howl as a unit. In response, Levy activates the effect of Retaliating Sea. How does this chain resolve? Ooh. So, I know how Howl as a unit works under Shifter. And Deception, okay, I think this is just happens to be what you can use for Howl as a unit. Retaliating Sea, when activates spell card that includes an effect special monster, special is from your hand. If summoned this way, while facing on the field, any card sent to the grave is banished instead. So Shifter is in effect. How does Amina says, reveal if... Oh wait, what's the actual question? How does the chain resolve? So first, Chain Link 2 will resolve successfully, Retaliating Sea entering the battlefield. Then How as Amina will resolve as much as possible. You reveal from extra deck. For every 4 levels, you attempt to send a Simple Spoilers card from your hand and or field to the grave. It doesn't actually get sent to the grave, it gets banished. Now, since you did not do the previous part, because you got banished instead of saying face down, then you don't do the then. So you do not special summon that revealed monster. So what happens is you just send the Deception, assuming you have nothing else to send, and you have no summon, but Retaliating stays on field. So that is how the chain resolves. Is how does it mean it resolves as much as possible? Gets rid of Deception and does not summon the monster because Deception did not go into the right place. It's kind of funny. So I'm writing down just no fusion on my notes. Okay. Now, question 3. Rodney controls Stardust Seaford Divine Dragon and Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, which has used its effect to summon itself for this turn. Right here, let me close out more of these tabs. Jillian has 3 copies of Raigeki and 3 copies of Dark Hole in her hand. Huh? How? You know, I'm going to assume it was like a Mulch Army, so they had like 17 cards. How many of these would you need to activate for Rodney to control no monsters? Interesting. So I'm going to hope that there is no difference between Raigeki and Dark Hole in this situation, but let's see. So, basically, Raigeki destroy all monsters, Dark Hole destroy all monsters, Jet Dragon. Other cards you control cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Stardust Seaford Divine Dragon says, the important line is, the first time each card you control would be destroyed each turn by battle card effect, it is not destroyed. So now here's the question. So, say they activate 1 Dark Hole. Well, the first time they would be destroyed, they're not, but also other ones can't be destroyed. So the question is, if it can't be destroyed by card effects, does it check the first time it would be destroyed? Or it just wouldn't be destroyed in the first place, so it doesn't get to not be destroyed. Which matters, because otherwise it goes Dark Hole 1, the first time of Jet Dragon disappears. Dark Hole 2, Jet Dragon leaves the field. Dark Hole 3, the first time of Seaford disappears. Raigeki, the Seaford actually goes away. Or if it does check the first time, then we can go 1, 2, 3. So we go, I believe it is the first time did not get used. So Dark Hole number 1, Jet Dragon protects Seaford and does not have it be destroyed. Seaford protects the first time Jet, so it's not destroyed. Dark Hole number 2, Jet Dragon's replacement effect still applies as it's being chosen to be destroyed. So Seaford does not check its first time for itself. So Jet Dragon's destroyed. And now it's in the grave. Now, according to this thing, Jet Dragon has already used its effect to summon itself this turn. So you only need 2 to get rid of Jet. And then you have Seaford protecting itself, you need 1 Dark Hole, 1 Raigeki. So you need to activate 4 is the answer. Okay, now question number 4. Kamal controls Mermail Abyss Glacia and Mermail King Neftabis. Oh god, I haven't read Mermail cards. Mermail cards. Don't have any Mermail players at locals that have played it long enough for me to get practice against. Landon has Snake Eyes Ash in his hand and no other cards. He normal summons it and activates its effect. Kamal activates the effect of Ablacia, which is this one. Discarding Deep Sea Sentry. Oh, is that the killer card? Oh, I don't know. The chain resolves and it adds Abyss Shrine to hand. And this adds Poplar to hand. Activates Poplar effect. And Kamal acts Sentry and Neftabis' effect. Chain resolve and activates equips a scale. How's the rest of the chain resolve? Oh god. So we have to read like 17 cards. Okay. So first step, they control these 2 cards. They control this Link monster. Which has the, if it's destroyed, you can send one, and target one engrave and summon it. But also, during opponent's turn, send a card from hand to grave to add a Mermail from deck to hand. And he has Mermail King, where they can't target water resist points with card effects. I'm going to assume that effect does not matter, as someone who hasn't read the rest of these cards. If a water is sent to the grave to activate a card, you can take an equip spell and either add to hand or equip it. If it's destroyed, add a card. He Landon normal summons Ash, gets its on summon effect to add a card. And Kamal responds a Glacia discarding Deep Sea Sentry, which, when sent to grave to activate a water monster's effect, which is in this case, you can make your opponent banish a card from their hand face up until the end phase. Oh god. Okay. Abyss Shrine. I'm gonna hope this card doesn't matter. It's not a quick effect. Okay, this card doesn't seem useful in the hand. Okay, Landon activates Poplar's effect. Camera activates Sentry's and Neftabis' effect. Chain resolves and equips Abyss Scale. How does the rest of the chain? So Abyss Scale says, when a monster effect that was activated on your opponent's side of the field resolves, negate that effect, then send this card to the grave. Okay, so the rest of the chain resolves. Sentry is chain link 2 as resolved. Sentry banishes a card from their hand face up until the end phase. It has only Poplar in hand, so Poplar gets banished until the end phase. Now, Poplar attempts to resolve, and Poplar does not summon, because it tries to special summon this card, and this card is only this card while in the hand. When cards change zones, they're no longer treated as the same card, thus, it doesn't summon itself from the banish zone. It just tries to summon from hand and doesn't, because it's not in the correct zone. So this doesn't summon. And then Abyss Scale doesn't actually interact with this, because a monster effect that was activated on your opponent's side of the field. This was not on the side of the field that activated. It was activated in the hand. So it's just Sentry, Banish, Poplar. Poplar doesn't summon. So I'm writing down no Poplar summon. And hope that's all it wanted. Otherwise I could be very wrong. Okay. And this one. Haley controls Diabelle, Queen of the White Forest, Toy Box, and Reclesia, Sinister Soul of the White Forest. Crook activates Ostinato. In response, Haley activates the effect of Diabelle, sending Toy Box to the grave for cost. Crook activates Forbidden Droplet, sending Ostinato and Dominus Purge to the grave for cost. Haley responds to the effect of Sylvie, targeting Reclesia. How does the chain resolve? Okay, so they control this Diabelle, which says, when your opponent activates card or effect, you can send a spell trap from hand to field to grave to summon a 7 or lower Tunu Synchro from your extra deck, graveyard, or banishment. They control Toy Box, which doesn't seem like to have any meaningful effects unless there's an attack happening. So, well, this just happens to be there. And Reclesia. Wait, did I open this twice? I did not. If it's specialed, send a card to add a card. Illusion and Spellcast Synchros gain 500 and they can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects. That's what I think the other important line is. They activate Ostinato to, if they control no monsters, fusion summon a Melodious using 2 from your hand and or deck as material. During the end phase, destroy the monster fusion summon this by its effect, and if you do, if all the materials are in the grave, you can summon all of them. Neat. Normally doesn't ask that. No, normally they use this material. That's neat to see. In response, Haley activates the effective D-Bell, sending toy box for cost. Then Crook chains Forbidden Droplets and Ostinato and Purge. Then they respond with Graveyard Effect, targeting Reclusia. Huh? How's the chain resolve? Oh. So this card says, target a White Force Synchro you control or in your grave. Return to the extract, and if you do, special, but negates effects. Ooh, I get the idea. So they only control 2 cards, or they only control 2 monsters. And Forbidden Droplet, say you send 3 cards, because they have 3 monsters, and then they respond by getting rid of 1 monster. They only have 2 monsters. Droplet does not work, because it has to negate exactly that many, not up to that many. But here, you still summon Sylvie, so you still have 2 monsters. But then, the question is, are you able to use Droplet on a monster who's already negated? And I think the important thing here is, yes you can, because it's still an effect monster while it's negated, and this card also halves their attack. It doesn't just negate their effects. So you are able to apply this to a negated monster, so you can half its attack. You don't have to negate its effects, since that's just an also thing. You do half their attack. So that is a thing to do. Thus, you are able to use that on Sylvie. So you are able to Droplet, negate Diabelle, and Sylvie. So how does the chain resolve? Chainlink 3 resolves first, returning Sylvie of the White Forest to the extra deck, and special summoning a negated copy of Sylvie of the White Forest. Chainlink 2 resolves, negating and halving the attack of Sylvie of the White Forest and Diabelle, Queen of the White Forest. Chainlink 1 resolves negated due to Diabelle, Queen of the White Forest being negated by Forbidden Droplet. So I'm writing this down as Droplet works. That's how I'm describing it. So that is my ruling on this. Now, analyzing game states. In this section, presume you're a judge taking a judge call. I also didn't realize I wasn't doing these before. I thought they were coming over and asking these questions. Also, I'm just assuming that... Let me just reread Purge in case that matters at all. Because I wasn't reading Purge. I was assuming, like, Toy Box, it didn't matter. But it was closer to maintaining a legal game state. Okay, it doesn't seem like it matters. Okay, now analyzing game states. So we have this whole screen in Dueling Book. Okay, question 1. Alex. We don't know who Alex is. Well, yes, we do. Controls full armored Dark Layer Rancer and a Goblin Biker Big Gabonga. It's right here. Hey, let me see if I can get it perfect. Good enough. And Big Gabonga. Gage. Alex, Emo, and Gage Nimnim. God damn it, YouTube. Okay. Gage controls a Teal'c Kaleidoheart, Muddragon in the Swamp, Time Thief Redoer, Teal'c Cashier, and a set Teal'c's Crime. In Alex's draw phase, so this person's draw phase, so they've drawn a card, we don't see any card here. He activates the effect of full armored XYZ in his grave, banishing it to equip XYZ Armor Torpedo from his graveyard from Gage tells the judge. Gage asks you if he is able to activate his crime in response to the effect of full armor because he has any cards in hand. I think I can because I won't be able to shuffle armor from grave into deck, so I'll never be able to send a card from hand to grave. How do you respond? Ooh, okay. Interesting. I think the important... Wait. Oh, I think there's multiple problems wrong with this. So there's multiple problems with this solution, and I would not... And because I'm talking to you guys right now, the viewers, instead of the players, I would act differently. But I would probably spend like a minute like reading a bunch of these cards. Like, I don't think I'd read Teal'c Cashier because I kind of know what it does. I know it doesn't do anything. But I would read Crime. I might actually miss over the interaction that I'm seeing now. But the important thing is Crime is they activate a spell trap card or monster effect. Wait, that's also wrong. Okay, wait, there's multiple problems wrong with this. Let me grab like all of them. Actually, does Big Gabunga matter? I don't think it does. Okay, I don't think this matters. Does Kaleidoheart matter for this? Okay, I don't think that matters. All I see is like 3 cheats happening at the same time. Okay, I'm seeing things that could matter in the future, but don't matter right now. I believe you are going to very much matter right now. Okay, so the important parts is full armored XYZ. Okay, so the important parts are here. So first step, crime, target this. What happens? There's multiple things that happen here. Number 1, you cannot legally activate crime because you don't have a card in hand. You have to be able to have a card in hand to send to grave. I'm going to send a monster in hand to grave. even though it won't actually require you to send it, due to negate the activation if you do shuffle that card into the deck, then send a monster from hand to grave. You won't send a card from hand to grave due to not actually shuffling it from deck, because you're trying to negate the one in grave so it doesn't actually get shuffled, so that reasoning would make sense. But there's another problem of when a spell trap card or monster effect is activated. You're not activating a spell or trap card, you're activating the graveyard effect of this trap card. So you're not activating a trap card, you're activating a trap effect. But there's also a different problem, to go slightly earlier than that, is that you can't call a judge before you commit to the action. You can't... Well, actually, okay, so there's a bit of contention of can you legally... of is this coaching? Of me saying if they're able to legally activate it, instead of wanting to activate it. So that's also a problem, and it goes slightly before the answer. But also before that, there's another problem. They have activated full armored XYZ, targeting full armored Dark Ray Lancer, and we can see right here, this card is water attribute. Mudrake in the Swamp says your opponent cannot target this card or monsters on the field, the same attribute as this card, with card effects. They cannot target their own water monster they control with card effects, so they cannot target it with full armored XYZ. This is a situation that you would have to recognize the board state to understand, and something that I could easily see of me messing up in person. I would like be focusing on like the important cards, and also even if I should respond to this, I think I'd probably like shotgun say that you can't call a judge for this kind of question for this activation legality. But I also probably wouldn't immediately notice the Mudragon conflicting with full armored. So this is an important thing of I would say this card is an illegal activation. You cannot target this. I don't know what I'd do involving Gage asking for cards. I'd say you cannot ask a judge for that. I'd probably do no penalty, because I don't actually know if there is a penalty for that. But I'd also say this card was illegally activated, targeting full armor Dark Ray Lancer. Rewind the game state before it's being activated. Put full armored XYZ back into the graveyard. It is not banishing from the grave to target an XYZ you control. It's still in the grave. We issue Alex a PE minor warning for illegally activating full armored XYZ and targeting a monster who cannot be targeted. And go to the game state back to Alex's draw phase with nothing being activated, and continue play from there. If this judge call takes multiple minutes, then we give them an extension for how long it took. If they ask for an appeal, then I get a higher judge to appeal this. That is how I respond. Mention that I cannot answer that question, but also they can't activate full armor XYZ, because a judge is also supposed to step in sometimes. There's also a bit of contention of should a judge step in if they see an illegal thing happen between judges. So I'm gonna say this survey wants you to say yes, a judge should always step in the same way people on live streams always assume judges should step in. So I'm gonna say XYZ illegal as what I'm writing in my notes. Okay, that's how I respond. Okay. Oh, they also have credit. Credit to Galadron for this one. Okay. Joseph and Daniel? Daniel Guadalupe. God damn it. Danny. Are these just YouTubers? I'm going through the names. I'm looking through the names right now. Jesse Cotton and Joshua Schmidt. God damn it. Jordan Nadir? Okay, I don't know who Jordan's supposed to be, because I immediately think of Jordan Peterson. And I'm not sure who Nadir exactly supposed to be. I'm assuming it's Farpa from Yugioh. So I don't exactly know for the names. Samantha? Samantha Eva? Okay, I don't know what this is. Okay. Now coach 2. Joseph. Oh, names just feel weird. Okay, Joseph controls Relinquish Anima, which has Flunderies and Rabina equipped to it, and is defense position equally prompt with 4 materials. One of the materials is purely Pretty Memory. Oh god, this is just already a mess. Great, now I take a break. Okay, let's do at least this question before I pause the recording for a second. They control Anima, which targets a card, equips it to it. Actually, you know what? I'll be right back. Give me a second. And by that I mean, okay, I'm back. And also, after the third break in taking this one long test, even I'm wondering about the structural integrity of this. Wait, who is the dolphin? Why is there a dolphin here? Anonymous dolphin. It's an anonymous dolphin here. What the hell? Okay. So we have Joseph controls Anima. They have which Rabin is equipped to, and a defense position employed with 4 materials. Daniel controls an attack position Empen and a face-up March of the Monarchs. March of the Monarchs protects your tributed guys. I'm assuming Empen's tributed. Tribute summon monster you control can't be destroyed by card effects. Needs to target them with card effects. You can't special summon monster from the extra deck. Okay. Daniel uses the effect of purely pretty memory, sending the equipped Rabina to grave and targeting March of the Monarchs. This resolves. Are you able to do that with Rabina? Rabina says, if this face-up card would leave the field, banish it in that set. Now, is this a monster effect, or does this also work well in the spell and trap zone? Because pretty memory needs to send to grave as cost. So is this also a monster effect? Does this apply? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways. I don't know, but I'll think about it later. Just then expertly summons Purely Noir in attack position, using Exploit Prump as material. He then activates the effect granted by Pretty, sending Anima targeting this. Call the judge if they would use primary choice in one turn. Pretty respond. Oh. So here's the question. Do you point out the illegal plays that were made? Because there were multiple legal plays. At the very least, putting Exploit Noir in attack mode and activating its effect doesn't work because Exploit Noir is unaffected by activated effects. But Empen has an effect where Empen says, while tribute summon cards in the monster zone, your opponent can't activate the effects of special summon monsters they control in attack position, which doesn't even affect the monster, it affects the player. It says you can't click buttons. So the question is, do I ask about this info? I think I may am supposed to ask about this info to understand what the whole situation is going on. Because I know I know the answer is yes, but if they've made illegal plays, then I should give proper penalties for it. Now, I don't know about Rabina sending. I'm going to assume that it does not. It will go to grave and it will work normally, and I treat that as a monster effect. In the same way of monster effects not working while attached to thing, and this is face up on the face up card would leave. So I don't know, but it's also like effects that don't say they have to be a monster effect, but you'd also know they're a monster effect. So I'm gonna count this as a continuous monster effect, which I could easily be wrong with that. So I'm not saying anything about this. About this, send this, take this. And then they summon Noir in attack mode. Using Plump. Wait, are they able to? Wait, what's Noir? Bring 2 with 5 or more materials. It does have 5 or more materials because it just ate this card. Anima targeting Ampan. Daniel calls the judge. He asks if Joseph can use the effect for primary choice in the same turn. And then I would probably ask, how would I respond? I'd ask how it was summoned this turn. How that actually works. What's the situation? And I'd probably eventually lead to the fact that Explorer was in attack mode, and Pen was tribute summoned, even though here it does not say whether or not it was tribute summoned, so I'd ask about it being tribute summoned. If it was tribute summoned, and not like special summoned or something, then I'd say while in a normal situation you are able to activate purely pretty memory twice in one turn, you are not able to here due to Flunderies and Empen preventing you from activating it. And then if they ask why, it's like, well, 1, it doesn't activate effect. 2, it affects you, not the card itself. Now, assuming this was like special summoned, because I think Empen can be special summoned, you just don't ever want to, because it's not as good. If this is special summoned, then my answer is yes, you are allowed to activate purely pre-memory twice in the same turn, because it is a soft monster return, and this is a new monster with this effect. So you are able to do it. So that is how I'd respond. So basically, depends if Empen. That's what the main line is. So I'm writing down depends if Empen on here in my notes, which is over here. Empen. Okay. Question number 3. We have Jesse and Joshua. Jesse controls Zeke. Just Zeke. Joshua controls Decode Talker Heat Soul. SP Little Knight. Oh, and SP Little Knight. And a set Silent Conflict and Mathematics Superfactorial. Now Subtraction and Circular are in his grave. Jesse Normal's Ray. In response to the X-Ray tutorial calculating all three. So resolved in the X-Ray summon prime equation. He activates the trigger effect to send a monster on field to grave, detaching subtraction for cost. Joshua responds by activating Ray's quick effect, to which Joshua responds with Silent Conflict. It's now resolved and sends Zeke. Now activates Ray's trigger effect in grave, calls you and asks whether this is possible. How do you respond? Okay, so we now read multiple things. So let's just pull up all the cards and read them all. See if there's any jokes I can make of slightly less info than I need. Tutorial. We have Nabla, Subtraction, and Circular, which I believe are just there to fill a quota. We have Ray. We have Laplacian. Okay, now Silent Conflict is already said. It's weird how it doesn't. Or it just goes in there. Okay, so we have Zeke. Must be link summoned. Special return if it's linked to the thing. So it doesn't really matter for Zeke. Let's read Silent Conflict. When a spell trap card, actually, while you control a Code-Talker monster, which Code-Talker does work, negate and banish. Also, point can activate the cards. Oh, I see. I get it. So the idea is they activate Laplacian's trigger effect to send a monster on field to grave. Laplacian has an effect on summon. Why are you here? Why are you here, SP Low Knight? Decode. I just didn't even realize SP was here. Does SP even do anything? Does SP interact with this board at all? Or is he just vibes? I think just vibes. Okay. Okay, so this card doesn't seem to interact with this board. It just requires to make this card activate. Oh, negate the activation. If you do, banish the card. And if you do, your opponent can't activate cards with the effects card with the same original name as the card that was banished until the end of the next turn. So this card targets up to 3, which you do target Nabla, which has no important part. Subtraction, which has no important part. And Circular, which has no important part. So, it goes, Chain Link 1, Laplacian. I would like to detach 1 to send a monster, non-targeting. Chain Link 2, Ray, tribute as cost to summon from extra. Then Silent Conflict, negate and banish. The chain resolves as much as possible. Silent Conflict, negate the activation. If you do banish that card, it attempts to negate the one that activated, so it attempts to negate the one on the field. But when cards change zones, they are treated as different cards. So the Ray that's in the grave is not the Ray on the field that activated the effect. Thus, Silent Conflict tries to banish the one from the field, which no longer exists. It's gone. It's a Tooth Fairy. It's not real. So it doesn't apply the rest of the effect. And even if it did, it replies with the same original name as that card that was banished. But there was no card that is banished. So there is no prevention of effect from Silent Conflict. But Ray is negated from trying to summon from extra deck. Not Superfactorial resolves. Laplacian resolves, sending Zeke to grave. Now you are allowed to activate. Cause and ask you whether this is possible. Get info from both sides. See if this is the situation. I also hope there isn't any restrictions. Is there any restrictions on Superfactorial? Should probably read. Is there any downside of what you need to have? Doesn't seem like it. Okay, but so I'm gonna say yes. Ray's trigger effect here is a legal activation. Silent Conflict does not actually banish it. It does not prevent the thing. Not prevent the thing. I'd use better words. Does not prevent Ray. Does not banish Ray and does not prevent future Ray effects from happening. Thus, Ray is allowed to activate in the grave. That is the thing. I'll also correct the Galantron again. So I'm gonna say, yes, possible. Yes, possible. That one seems relatively simple, at least compared to where they're just doing a bunch of illegal things. And this one, I don't think anything illegal happened, which I think is at least good compared to others. Okay, next up. Oh god. Saravis. SP again. Why is SP still here? Okay, Jordan controls Avatar. I feel like I've heard that a YouTuber say to another YouTuber, Jordan. And SP Knight, he has Ash Blossom, Fire King Skyburn, and Snake Eyes Ash in hand. Oh, I'm also worried that there's going to be a thing involving Ash. I'm just going to pull up literally all the cards. Okay, Neither controls Sangan and a set Imperm. It's a copy of Saravis in hand. Okay. Jordan normals Ash and activates its effect. Okay, wait. Okay, he normal summons Snake Eyes Ash. Wait. Controls Avarda and SP. He has Ash Blossom, he has Fire King Skyline, and he has Snake Eyes Ash in hand. They control Sangan, Ascent Imperm, and a copy of Saravis in hand. So point to on my mouse. Jordan normal summons Ash and activates its effect. Nadir activates infinite permanents targeting it. Jordan activates SP in response, targeting Sangan and Ash. Nadir activates the effect of Saravis to negate SP. Jordan chains Avada's effect, then activates Skyburn, targeting Avada and Sangan. So I'd have to read Avada to see exactly how that card works. Monster effects activated while this card's on the field. Negate, and if you do, destroy another fire from hand or face-up field. And then activates Skyburn, targeting Avada and Sangan. Why did you do that? You didn't even need to do that. Just doing things. Just do them. Chain resolves. Avada's effect destroys Ash and adds a copy of... and Jordan adds a copy of Poplar. On a new chain, Jordan activates Poplar in hand. Avada's effect engrave due to Skyburn blowing up Avada and Sangan. And Runic's effect engrave. Didn't even say in the lore that he had Runic's engrave. He activates Sangan's grave. A judge's call. Jordan believes Sangan activates his chain link 4 here because he is turn player and his effects go on chain first. He would like to activate Ash Blossom to negate its effect. How do you respond? So I think everything here was legal to activate before the whole Sangan thing, because Sangan is mandatory. If it's sent from field to grave, mandatory. No can. You are forced to do it. And in priority, you first activate mandatory effects before any optional trigger effects. So you activate Sangan as chain link 1 always, and then turn player and non-turn player can activate their optional effects. If you have other mandatory effects, then Sangan could be chain link 2, but that's not how it is. Okay, so let's make sure the whole story is going on. Normal Ash, activate effect, chain Imperm target. SP, target these two, make him leave. So Imperm would resolve without effect, and Ash would resolve getting Poplar. Nadir activates the effect of Saravis to negate SP. They chain this to destroy this. Then at Skyburn, blow it up, blow it up. Chain resolves. Avada destroys Ash to negate. First Skyburn, blow up. Then this resolve, blow this up. Right? That can work while it's still not on the field. Yeah, it only needs to be on the field. Oh, it could also destroy the Ash Blossom in hand, funny enough. Okay. And then, so Imperm has no effect. This is negated. And Poplar. A new chain, they activate Poplar in hand. Oh. I see. There's also an interesting thing involving graveyard priorities. We have Poplar, Vada, and Runix activating here. So let's remove you, Sangan we already know. Ash is here. So first of all, I would say if Sangan needs to be first, but also I'd read in depth of these, because there's a ruling from, what's it called? We have Arvada, Garunix, and Poplar. I got rid of Poplar. There's a ruling with like green baboon of the forest or something like that. They can summon themselves from hand or grave when another guy is destroyed by battle or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but they summon from hand or grave, and you're not allowed to activate 2 of them in the same chain. So if you activate a card or effect that could summon itself from I have to read that card. I'm going on Neuron right now and looking up the card that I'm thinking of. But Poplar summons only from hand. Grunic summons from hand or grave. Arvada, if it has a trigger effect when destroyed. So that works differently. This is a trigger effect from being destroyed itself. This is from something else. I'm going on my phone right now and looking up green baboon. Green. Here's 20. That's a green. There it is. Green baboon, defender of the forest. When a face-up beast you control is destroyed and sent to the grave while it's in your hand or grave, pay 1,000 special to summon this card. This card can only be activated once per chain. I mean, you have 2 different cards. You can't 2 different copies. You can't activate both in the same chain. I know that is a ruling. So the question is, how does this work? I'm going to say how this works is You have a trigger effect to summon stuff from hand. You have a trigger effect to summon from hand or grave. Wait, give me a second. Sorry, I had to sneeze. So I mute my mic for a second. And so I'm gonna say all three of these are legal to activate, but Sengan must activate his chain link 1 here. It doesn't. First, turn player activates any mandatory effects, of which none of these are. This is a can. This is a can. And this is a can. So these all, and then non-turn player activates their mandatory effects. So I'd say, no, Sengan is a mandatory effect, and it's forced to activate chain link 1 here, unless you have your own mandatory effect. You do not have mandatory effects here, you only have optional trigger effects instead of mandatory trigger effects. Thus, Sengan's activates chain link 1, then you can activate any of your chain links. Now, technically, I also wouldn't say this part, but they are able to just not activate any of those 3 effects so they can activate Ash. But it's your turn. I think you're fine. I don't think you need to Ash this. I think you could probably just kill them. You have the line. Also, whatever they add, they can't use as effects this turn, so you don't actually need to care that much about Ash. You have lethal. So yeah, Sangan chain link 1 is what I'm saying. Sangan chain link 1. Yeah, I have to pull my nose again. Move my mic, but still show my mouse so I'm she's still here. Okay, so before reading the prompt, I A, see a bunch of voices, and B, see how many illegal actions were performed this turn, please list them. And also C, I realize how hard it is to blow your nose while you have to have one hand on a mouse. So I just gave up and stopped it. Samantha activates Brand Diffusion. Eva responds with Dominus Impulse from her hand. Samantha activates Barrier and uses the effect to add Saphira, Dragon Queen the Voice's voice, from deck to hand. Era activates the effect of Draw and Lockbird, which resolves. Okay, so let's see here. Let's just pull up all these cards. Now, I think I know the voice list, but just in case, I'll pull it up. Because, I played for a bit and didn't realize Saphira could get back from grave. I think I learned that. Okay, so we have Brand Infusion. I'm assuming we're in the main phase. Activates. You can't special from the extra deck the turn you activate this effect. Impulse negates that effect, because it includes an effect special monster. Thus, you still did activate Brand Infusion this turn, so you can't special summon from the extra except fusions, because this is still the turn you activated Brand Infusion. Then we have Barrier Search Saphira, then Droll. That's what the whole paragraph is. So far nothing's illegal, but we do see the possibility of something being illegal with Brand Infusion, and we also see the possibility of something being illegal of Impulse from hand. So Eva is locked out of Light, Earth, and Wind monsters. Speaking of which, they activated the Wind monster. We've performed illegal action number 1. Droll was an illegal action. So I'm gonna say it in turn order. Droll was illegal to activate here due to you being under the effect of Dominus Impulse. So this would probably rewind the game state to before Droll is activated, but also depending on where this goes. Samantha activates the. Okay, so now here's the question: if you say add under Droll, but Droll wasn't supposed to be activated, was adding under Droll illegal? Or I'm gonna count it as yes, adding under Droll was illegal, because assuming that is accepted game state and it's unable to be repaired, then the next thing is also a cheat. Okay, Saphira send to grave, send a copy of Prayers to the grave, and does not apply the additional effect to add from deck or graveyard to hand. That is not. That is perfectly fine. She then normal summons Diviner or the Herald, and activates this effect to send a fairy monster. Sends Trias Hierarchy to grave. Activate the effect Tribute a Diviner for cost. Activates Magnemut, banishing Diviner from the grave. Interesting. So now here's a little bit of unknown information, because there is no field that we can see. So how this works is Trias Tribute Diviner's cost. Now, if they control no monsters, then they cannot activate Bestial Magnemut. So the question is, do they control any monsters at this point? I think I'm going to read these things. Okay, then some of this. And I'm reading these. Okay, I'm already seeing multiple illegal things. Okay, so I've seen at least a few illegal things. Based on reading a little bit of the text, it never says of how Samantha has controlled another monster, so I'm going to assume that they do not control another monster. Thus, at the point of activating Bestial Magnemite, which says you can target a layer dark in either grave, banish it, and summon this. This is a quick effect if your opponent controls a monster. At this point in time, they do not control a monster, thus activating Magnemite was illegal. So Magnum, or Magna. How do I say this name faster? Oh, Magna. I spelled it wrong. Okay, here we go. Magnemite. Banishing Diviner. Now, on a new chain, Samantha activates the effect of Diviner. Eva activates the effect of Magnemite. So, assuming that this Magnemite was successful, then Diviner the Herald was illegally activated. But, assuming we rewound the game state, and it is able to be rewound, then... Okay, so here's the question. Is Diviner here a card that isn't... So, when cards change their zone, in this case, it has left the zone that it was tributed to. The card in the banish was not tributed. The card in the grave was, but the card in the banish was not. So it does not get the effect when tributed of Diviner's effect. If this card is tributed, blah 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 blah. It was tributed from field to grave with the power of Tria's Hierarchia. If it's in your hand or grave, tribute up to 3 fairies, where you just tribute 1. But this effect does not work if it's banished. But it was never supposed to be banished. So, is this an illegal effect, or is this part of the earlier illegal Magma effect? I'm going to say that every single individual illegal one is illegal. But now here's the question. Do we check each one as in a vacuum illegal? I'm going to say each one is in a vacuum, like on its own. So, in this case, the effect of Bestial Magnemite is legal of the on field to add from deck or grave to hand during the end phase. So Magnemite was legal. The Diviner, on the other hand, was not legal. So that's how I'm saying that, in terms of illegal actions. Diviner summons Low from deck. They've now summoned Low. Low's effect places Radiance on the field. Radiance is the trap card that we saw a bit earlier. It's probably going to involve shuffling to add or summon. Samantha used the effect of Radiance, returned Prayers from grave to hand, which was previously sent to grave by Saphira effect. Then summons Saravis, Dragon Sage of the Voice's Voice. Now, Saravis should be the main deck guy, right? Okay, it's the main deck guy, so far everything's right. We're currently under Droll. Samantha is under Brand Fusion Lock, and Eva's under Impulse Lock. Impulse is Light, Earth, Wind. So the Dark that they used from from Magnemite isn't a problem. It's just its own separate problem. Samantha activates the effect of Saphira Engrave, attributing so you banish it, I'm guessing, right? Attributing a second copy of Low from the hand, and summoning Skull Guardian Protector of the Voice's Voice from her hand. She then uses Low effect in the grave to special summon itself. That is legal. I don't see a reason for it to not be legal, at least. Eva activates the effect of Labyrinth Storvy Toby, who is a dark monster. Yes, it's a dark monster. Discarding itself in transaction rollback. They change Saravis Dragon's effect, returning it to the hand and summoning Odd Eyes Pendulum Graph from deck. That is illegal, due to Pentagraph says must be either ritual summoned or pendulum summoned from your hand. So you must ritual summon it, and Saravis Dragon Sage does not ritual summon it, it just special summons it. So this is not treated as a ritual summon, thus this is an illegal thing. So Pendulum Graph, I'm also writing as illegal. Pendulum Graph, that's what I'm writing. Here. It still does seem like, honestly I thought there would be more. I thought there'd be like one in here. Well, I guess this one was illegal. 1, 2, 3. I thought there would be also one here. But it seems fine. Okay, now, and Eva sets a copy of Big Welcome Labyrinth from her deck. That seems fine. Trias sends Trias Hierarchia and a copy of Low from field to grave to synchro summon Chaos Angel, and uses its effect to banish set Big Welcome. So, he ends her turn, and Eva has a copy of Bistro Druid from deck to hand. There's like 3 cheats in this paragraph to make up for it. Samantha sends Trias Hierarchia to grave, but Trias Hierarchia was summoned using its own effect. You special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. So this card is not supposed to be sent to grave. This card is supposed to be banished for the synchro summon of Chaos Angel. So Trios is illegal. And then the summoning of Chaos Angel in general is illegal due to Branded Fusion's activation not being negated. Since this card was still activated this turn, you still can't special summon from the extra deck except fusion monsters. Thus, you are not able to summon Chaos Angel. So, also saying Chaos Angel is illegal. On top of that, using the effect to banish the set Big Open Labyrinth, that's fine. Also, Trios Hierarchia, you don't need Tuner to summon Chaos Angel. You just need Light Darks. So we have Light of 9, and Low is not here, but it's 1, so 1 plus 9 is 10. Now, she ends her turn and adds a copy of Bishop Jerusalem from her deck to her hand. She cannot do that because Droll is a two-sided card. Both players are under Droll and Lockbird, so neither player can add cards from main deck to hand. So resolving Magnemite in a way to add from deck to hand was illegal. What actually would have been done is just nothing happens. Assuming Magnemite's on-field effect was legal, which technically every single action past Droll and Lockbird was illegal. So we either count the actual individual illegal items, which was I got 7 of activating Droll under Impulse, activating Magnemite while not having a monster to not make it a quick effect, activating the Tributed Diviner who's in the Banish Zone and was not redistributed, summoning the Pendulum Graph from deck. Here, let me 1, 2, 3. Summoning the Pendulum Graph from deck. Where is it? I already forgot. Yeah, summoning Pendulum Graph from deck is number 4. Trios going to grave is number 5. Summoning Chaos Angel while under Branded Fusion is number 6. And adding Jerusalem from deck to hand as 7. So I'm saying those 7 are the illegals. Technically, we could count literally everything, and I'm just not doing that. I just don't want to do that. Okay, let's go to answers. I wrote down my notes. Let's see. Here we have. I wrote no, no, yes, no, no, yes. Okay, so I said this. If a non-effect monster is granted an effect through any means, it becomes an effect monster. That is good to know. Okay, I should read my things. Verbal contracts illegal. Verbal is illegal play. Verbal overrules. Number 2, target's illegal. The entire activation is illegal and must be retracted. So you just rerun the MC. Side deck must all match. If you set an extra card, you must swap the sleeve with the card in your extra deck while signing out. But if I even mentioned this at locals tonight, that was funny. 2, no, the effect freedom cannot be activated because control was changed after its trigger was met. Because, this is because trigger is related to something happening to a specific player. Example, you or your opponent. Which was about the change of heart thing. No, if any email can't be used as fusion material. While con fusion is not fusion summon, cards used for it are fusion materials. Which I knew about that. Okay. That was, 7 is no. 7 is no in either case. Low can be used for Meteorons as non-machine, and the effect of low can't be applied while it is an XYZ material. I was right! I feel proud because I winged it on that one. I was relatively certain, and I would have gotten extra health, but I wasn't sure. Okay, now 8. Yes, which I also wrote as 8, yes. Effects that change in effect are not considered to affect monsters. 9 is no. And it does not control Chimera. So that is an effect that is being negated. 10, I wrote no. And they have yes. Also, wait, what? Mine literally on 10, 11, 12 are different. Yes, stat changes only move by the effect negation, such as Screw Drain. Stat changes one that monster can only apply to itself. So stat change is applied to it by the effect that activated while it's a trap. Level considered to apply by a different card. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I guess my correlation of activating a monster effect in the hand to summon it is different. Okay. Boom is turning trap. Card of the grave only negates the effect of monsters. Wait, what? Why did I say yes? I knew that card. Wait, what was 11? I'm going back to 11. Activates call turn. Activates call by slot turn. So effect resolve negated. Let's call by the grave for a second. Oh, I see. I did activate effects and parenthesis effects on the field of monsters and parenthesis as my guess, which was incorrect. So that was incorrect. Is there a point system? There's not a point system. Just see if you're right or not. Okay. We have No, the control setting protection part applies to attaching it as a material. That one I just actually didn't know, so I made a guess. So I don't feel too bad about being wrong. That one is not one I actually, in my gut, answer. Okay, so 13, 14, 15 I got right. No, you determine which effects you can activate when you start building a chain. Griffin has no targets engraved yet, so it's not illegal to activate it. Same reason I said. Has to be legal to do it. Okay, no. No one needs to check the level of the target monster in the grave, which you can no longer do. I was right about that. Same reason. Yes, the end of Typhon's in the process of being destroyed by battle, so its continuous effect stops applying. Also right about that. Okay. Now, 16, 17, 18 are all yes. Wait, what? I wrote 19 and 20 as no. Okay, well, that's worrying. Yes, you do not declare which effective degards you're activating until you have already detached. As long as one of the bullets legal activate, detach it, and summon one for grave. Which is the ruling in the OCG, but the TCG is different, so be prepared to ask the head judge if you plan to have this happen. So if you're playing Raziel, ask the head judge, like Friday at the NAWCQ. Okay, and 17 is yes and yes. Cards discarded by its are considered discarded by its effect. I know. 18, yes, does not prevent you from targeting a Redux. As long as there is a monster in grave to target before activating Testament. You can activate the monster. Okay. Now, 19, yes, the restriction on activating monster effects in the hand is part of the effects of Song Dominate and does not apply until it resolves. Okay, so it's not like extravagance. Good to know. I said the other thing. 20, yes, if it's temporarily damaged, the location of it's summoned from is remembered. That one I wasn't sure about, so I partially made a guess. So it's understandable that I got it wrong. Then again, for these ones that I made a guess and I was right, I'm not exactly sure. Some of these, I'm also just not going to keep. Actually, you know what? Let's keep track of score. I have, let's see here. We have, for yes, no, I'm currently, let's see here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sort of 8 at number 9. Wait, what? 8. No, wait, 9. No, wait, that was 8. Okay, wait. I'm saying 8. I'm looking at 8 on my thing, and being at number 9, which is awkward. Then we have, oh, these 3 are wrong, so that's 4 wrong. 4 wrong. And then we have and then we have, okay, 6 wrong. So I had 14 out of 20. And then of those ones, which ones would I have actually done the proper thing and get help from another source? No source. So I'm saying 14 out of 20 because it's more fun to pretend I'm always right. 14 out of 20. And, okay, I would have definitely not known what the answer of this one was. I wasn't sure about it. So I would have asked a different judge. Because I'm like, I don't know. Also, I was very surprised if it would come up. So I do not know. We have, was it 13, 14, 15 different? No, wait, 10, 11, 12 was different. We have, this one I would have said what I thought, and I would have been incorrect. So that one I made a mistake. This one I'm not sure if I would have gotten judged, but I would have made a mistake. This one I would have felt pretty confident in of it not touching either player's field, thus it's not under your control. But I would have been wrong about that. Wait. Heart of the Blue Eyes is on someone's field when it's activated. I was thinking of it from Grave. Of like thing. I'm now realizing this is worse than I thought. Okay. So we have, and then the final 2 of unsure, but probably say this. And then 20 would be I know I don't know, but I know I could know. So in these 6 times I was wrong, get help 2, maybe 3 of the times. Which means I would have been wrong 3 of the times. Which is unfortunate. Okay. Okay, now we have number 1. We have CDF, I wrote. CDF. Okay, I was right there. It is an effect, but it applies in all locations. Mirror Jade, you're attempting to summon from the grave, prevents its own summon if you control any face of card named Mirror Jade. We have B, C, D, F, G, so I am right about that. We have A, B, D. I also wrote E. Statue will select or not make it leave the field. Oh, so I think E is an issue. I mean, number 3 is an issue of not reading the question properly. 3 is, which following will make it leave the field. So while this does affect Noir, and like this one doesn't affect Noir, and all these affect Noir. This one, while affecting Noir, does not make it leave the field, which requires you to actually read the question properly, because I did not read it properly. I was like, yeah, you've dealt with it. Thus, it's a good thing to do. Thus, it's the correct answer. But by not reading the question right, then I failed. At least failed that part. Okay, now. Okay, this one is BDE, so I was correct about this. Okay, now 5 is D, which I'm right about the shuffle, shuffle, cut, cut. Okay, I said B. Search, in case your opponent would be. But you can't write it down. If turn ends, you must remember it. Oh, wait, it's BACE. See all tracking information required to maintain the game state. These are a reminder of performance. These all make sure the game state remains intact. Oh, I didn't. I said no to A. Why did I say no to A? What was A? It was I used my normal sum this turn, so that is an acceptable form of note taking. Okay. So reading more in depth of the answer there is. It can seem like a B. Wait, I also need to read. Did I get that? Did I misunderstand the question? Which of the examples is not in the acceptable form of note taking? And I was writing down what is an acceptable form of note taking. Once again, I misunderstood the question and I failed because of it. This is why you must pay attention to the questions. Like I was also incorrect in assuming about normal sum on this turn, thinking no, that's an obvious one. You don't need to actually write that down. Or you shouldn't write that down. So for I'm gonna put in. Do I have a symbol for bad? I'm gonna put in a caret to show that I did it wrong because I misunderstood the correct thing to do. There we go. Then we have 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay. Okay, now 7. A, E, F. I am correct. It can't apply while it's in the deck. It must use Red Ice Fusion mentioned on it while being summoned. A Fusion Substitute cannot replace that material. Which is funny. Okay. Okay, now these A, B, D, E. These are summon conditions, not effects, as I said. If steady is an effect and can't be applied, the Deer Servant can be resolved but can only add from deck. If you can't add from deck, the extra deck lock still applies. Weaker Princess returns itself to deck for cost, not effect. Wonderful. Okay, now 9. Oh no. Wait, I also have A, see? Perfect. That's where I got the wrong one. Ooh, I'm getting all these right so far. AC, checked whether or not it was in hand when it was normal. I made the right guess. That one I would have probably gotten someone else, except for Spear Dragon, where I know it would have worked. The question is, does it count when you discard it, or check when it resolves later? I assumed it was check when you activate it while it's still in hand. And in this case, I was right. But basically, I could have easily been wrong, and I should have gotten a second opinion on this. Because I would not have ever thought of this happening. Because I would not have thought of anyone playing Meteor Reactor. I will say also, for a majority of these effects, while they could eventually come up, and it's useful to have this as a basis, especially if new cards get added that can change your perception on these, some of these cards that have specific ways of wording don't matter. Like, I think question 9, like, you don't need to know this for proper play. Like, you can go your entire judging career without needing to know this and not have any problems. Like, Geminis don't really exist. Maybe if, like, Materia... No, wait, that is Materia. What's the one that, like... I mean, maybe if Chemicritters gets new busted support. Maybe if they change the rules, I don't know. Okay, now E. I remember this. Can't be chained to cards that apply a lingering effect to a player. Guys who can checks the deck count of both players. Counts can be chained to, but only for the first and third bullet points. Wait. Look at the hand. Draw 2 cards, that's why. I messed up. Did I write that right? Now I'm wondering. I'm going to go back to that to see why I said that, and I was like, I'm not sure what they mean by that. Where's the talent? A and E are correct. Wait. It was AE. Right? Because this one was AC. Yeah, AE. AB, AD. Okay. So I was right about talent, maybe. And I knew extravagance wasn't because it relates to the cards. Okay. Also, it has been a day, as I said. I forgot exactly what the... Okay, now 11 is AB. Oh, God, wait. I said very different wrong for 12. I'm worried. Okay. We have 11. In AB, continuous effect of watchers being negated by imperm prevents it from applying to perfect its activate effect. You can only apply its fusion effect to Skarlon here. In C, the negation effect on Cryptor is not an effect. So, unlike the other one where it's just an effect, this one is a criteria on the effect. So it's not an actual effect. Thus, it will work. Hyper Dragon Cannon is protected from Imperm by Crush Driver. Imperm does not negate the column unless negating the monster first. As I said. Wonderful. Now 12. I said something very different, and I didn't even understand what the prompt was until I already started answering it. Okay. An A is not a Harpy monster. B, once Imperm stops applying, the effect to have its name applies again, and it overwrites unknown. C, the name of Quem is changed to unknown, and cancels out the part of text treat says, what? It cancels out. I did not know this canceled out. Oh yeah, I want to read this part. I want to read this. Here mask is target card. And the name becomes out here near us. In this case, with Celtic Guard, number arms to is the Celtic Guard card. No one treated as Celtic card. Oh. This is good to know. I did not know this. Imagine if the name is not a card saying it's always treated as it. It is like a subset of the name being that. So like Heart of the Blue Eyes is always a Millennium monster. That's part of the name Heart of the Blue Eyes. If it wasn't named Heart of the Blue Eyes and it was just named like Blue Eyes that has a heart in it, it would not be a Millennium card. Okay. And I got exactly D the same. And also E, different D and E. Doesn't matter, currently named for substitution to apply. E, unknown, is not a card that exists in the game for the same reason. Okay, I got D, E right, but I got A, B, C wrong. So the majority of that was wrong. Okay, so which of these did I get wrong? Because I wrote it after 6 wrong. 6, I misunderstood the question and deserved to fail. And then this one is wrong. Okay, so this one I got a 9 out of 12 in the multiple choice section of getting everything right. 2 times I misunderstood the question and would have had a bad problem. And 1 time I just also didn't know what it was. Once I got to blow my nose again. Okay, there we go. Better. I should pause my recording to blow my nose. I didn't think of that. Okay, complex rulings. I wrote like very short things. Okay. Rain's voice and SP will be on the field at the end of turn. The Jet Synchron will be considered banished by its own effect. Will not be returned by Low Knight. Radiance must attempt to destroy both itself and at least one of the targeted cards. Since neither targeted cards were still on the field to attempt to destroy, it destroys nothing remains on the field. It's exactly what I said, so my reasoning was also correct. Let's say I was right as number 1. Number 2, Tancy will be special from the hand. J reveals an Azumina fusion from their extra, 10% deception, causing it to be banished by your Tancy. The revealed fusion monster is not summoned. Exactly what I said. No fusion. And I knew this because I learned like with how Shifter worked with this, and then the card just is Shifter. And then I watched someone who is a good player and is very fun to beat, or very fun when I'm able to beat them. They just like activate it while under Shifter. I'm like, sure, and like just like a shit eating grin. Sure, go ahead. Like hand on the head, like go ahead, do it. Okay. Okay, number 3, I wrote 4. 4 total copies need to be used. On the first, Zephyr protects Jet, and Jet protects Zephyr. On the second, Jet protects Zephyr, but is destroyed. On the third, Zephyr protects itself, fourth is destroyed. Just as I said. The first protection of Zephyr does not get used at the same time as Jet being used on itself. So it is not 3. And Jet protects as it dies, so it won't be 2. Decent Sentry, okay, so 4. Resolves normally, banishing Poplar from hand. Poplar resolves without being summoned. Nothing is changed negated by Biscale. It only negates effects on the field. I was correct about that. I was 100% correct about that. I feel proud. Okay, now 5. Returns to extra deck, and Sylvie is summoned, with effects negated. Obviously, is applied to both, as it can still be applied to monsters that already have their effects negated, because it changes stats. It doesn't just negate. If it was like just negate stats, then it would have problems. The other effect resolves negated, and finally Alcinata resolves normally. I forgot to write down Alcinata resolves normally. It's awkward to me. I forgot to say that because I wasn't really like what the issue was. So I don't know how well I feel about that. I feel a bit. I'm gonna say I got a 90% on this 5 question. I'm gonna say that one was half right because I forgot to say Alcinata resolved. I think in person I would have, with the help of their players, also figured out Alcinata resolves, but I messed it up. So I'm giving that a 90% on that. The other one I have a 75%? I have a 75% in the multiple choice, but I'm also not considering of getting help from outside sources. Except this one, in which case I literally would not understand. I would need help from the players to help explain. That or also just not know how the unknowns work except for these situations. In answers, I would say I have a realistic 70%. but a confidence of 80%, because I would have gotten help for someone else, and they would have made a new ruling that would be correct. Okay, now, analyzing game states. Question number 1. I've said, where is it? I said doing the explicit thing is illegal. We have, you tell Gage the crime can't be activated in response to a trap card, only the activation of a trap card on the field. Then you ask Gage if his mud dragon is currently water. The effect of full armor expertise was not legal to activate with targeting a certain act. Can't target waters anywhere on the field with card effects. Full armored expertise returned to grave. It does not mention about issuing a PE minor. Interesting to know. Okay, tell Daniel, and number 2, tell Daniel that premium's effect can be used more than once per turn, as a different monster using the effect. The reason it would not be used here is because Expert Noir is an attack switch and affects the activation. However, the first time it was used was not illegal, or being that can't be sent to grave to pay the cost, as it will always be banished when it leaves the field. That is important to know. The game was around before the effect was activated by Plump. Good to know. I wasn't sure about that, so I moved on. But also, technically, they never asked if M-Pen was tribute summoned. We don't know if M-Pen was originally tribute summoned, so M-Pen's effect may not be happening. Then again, it doesn't matter because we go back before that happened. We can find out later. So I'm willing to say that I'm wrong there, because the most important part of rewinding how far the game state is Robina being sent to grave, and I assumed that it wasn't. So that I will 100% say I was incorrect there. Because I was saying it depends if M-Pen, and this did not depend if M-Pen. This thing was illegal either way. So carry it on there. Number 3, you told Joshua, raise effect can be activated here, and the effect would attempt to banish a copy that activated on the field, which is not due to him moving the grave. Therefore, would not apply the effect of prevents cards with the same name. It's in agreement with the left, so Ray would mean triggering can activate normally. I was correct on 3. Number 4, you told Jordan that seconds would be activated as chain like 1 here, so it's mandatory. In addition, you can't activate both triggers with activate and hand to summon themselves. Oh, that's the reason. I was thinking of like in grave, but no, both activate in hand to summon them, which is what the issue was. It's not like the hand and grave. They both can activate in hand to summon themselves, which is what the important distinction is. If you activate 2 effects in grave to summon themselves, that seems fine. But if they have the ability to summon from hand, then that's the problem. Notably, you can activate Garunix and the other one, because even though they both summon the grave, one that has a trigger effect from itself being destroyed, but 2 have options to summon themselves. So that's important. I would have had that wrong, because I would have not gotten this part right, which is very important to say. So I'm also marking that as wrong. Now, which of these are illegal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Am I right? Activation of Draw is illegal as impulse result. Magnum is illegal as they control no monsters. Divining second effect is illegal if it was not in its trigger location when it would activate due to being banished by Magma. The future summon of this was illegal as Pentagraph must be ritualed or pendulum from the hand. Send choice to grave to use when it was illegal to be banished, as I said. Single summon case was illegal as Brain Fusion had been activated. And Drew from the hand of Magma was illegal as Draw was replying. Notably, it does not say activating Magma's effect on field was illegal, because it does not immediately add a card from deck to hand. You are able to activate Draw. In the same way, you can activate Book of Eclipse under Draw, even though it's an effect that does draw cards, because it doesn't do it immediately. You do it later. Okay, so I was right on question 5. It was the longer one. I was 50-50 on analyzing game states, partially because of I was incorrect with Rabina on question 2, and this one I was incorrect with understanding the Green Baboon ruling between multiple trigger effects. I haven't played Fire King. I haven't played with Fire King, period. I haven't played against it in a long time. Which is why I should get a judge. Or get another judge. For complex rulings, I was 4 out of 5, right? No, wait. Where was I? Was I 5 out of 5? I was correct with all 4 of these. And then this one, I would have needed help from the players, because I would have forgot about resolving Ostinato. I would have recognized the problem thing as how does Droplet work with an under negated, and I forgot about Ostinato needs to resolve. Ostinato would have resolved normally. I would have forgot that, and be like, there you go, resolve. And then maybe they say like Ostinato works, and I say, I'm like, well, yes, but I would have forgotten the moment. So it was a bit awkward. I'm gonna give myself a 90%. I'm gonna say I got this one half right. Now this one, I got enough. I got 12 not complete. Stars incorrect. We have, where is it? B, I misunderstood the question. I just thought it was a can when it said can't. And we have C, and number 3 I got wrong because I did not properly read the question. And so it wasn't deal with Noir. It was make it leave the field. And Snatcher doesn't make it leave the field. And then for this question, I wasn't sure about the temporal removing. I wasn't sure about the how this effect applied. I was not sure about how control switching worked with going underneath an XYZ. But also I was thinking of it going from the graveyard of one field to the under an XYZ of another field. And I was never thinking of it being on the field for it to activate, because I was just completely thinking, which I probably would have been thinking differently if it was in person, so I was physically looking at the board. But I still probably would have said that it worked. But actually, maybe probably because the control is now switching, I'm not sure what I would say, because now I also see the answer as a certain thing. So I'm going to still say I was wrong here. Okay, no permanent is currently trapped, covering only effects of monsters. One thing to know, it's not activate effects of all cards, activate effects of monsters. 10. Stat change of traps can work with skill drain would not negate the trap effect. I also had wrong. We have... where's the other ones? Where's the other one? If a non-effect monster gains effects, then it becomes an effect monster. Which I was getting it confused with, like, Mudball Main able to have... no, well, I guess it's just a... It's not like instead of a thing that says these two things are not directly related, it's a thing that says you don't need to have effects to be an effect monster. But if you have an effect, you are an effect monster. So I misunderstood what that meant. And thus I was punished for it. I would be very surprised if this came up in person, though. But it is going to be useful to know. This could also be really funny. To just like make a meme deck for my locals where I just try to make Gemini Pearl have effects. Make a bunch of normal monsters have effects. It's funny. Okay, anyways. Thank you all for coming. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have more interesting things for a Yu-Gi-Oh! Judge to answer, such as these, or if you have your own questions, put them in the comments below. I'd love to do it. As I've said before, the link to this, I'm gonna try to figure out how to get the link to this, but the link to this will be in the description on top of this person's channel. Their YouTube channel will be in the description, which is right here. Actually, I'm just gonna click it right here. Skarlon. I hope you all enjoyed. I'll catch you all next time. See ya. Stop recording button.